What if Naruto and Nyx, the night goddess, were couples? Now let's move on to the movie. It has been 1 year since the quest to the Sea of Monsters. It has also been a year since Naruto stood up to his mother. He knew she was displeased about his choices in romantic partners, but honestly, he could care less. Rhaenyra, the reason for his mother's displeasure, was currently in the attic weaving curtains and other goods that were made out of silk. She was inducted into Naruto's business a few months ago. She was mostly in charge of making anything out of silk. Rhaenyra's work received positive reviews, and orders for her silk creations had an increase in the preceding months. Naruto was currently riding in the back seat of an SUV with Percy, Annabeth, and the recently reanimated daughter of Zeus, Talia. Her arrival was unexpected but was a given as the campers thought that this was a sign of good fortune. It took a few days for the demigoddess to adjust to camp life. Naruto's attempt to change Talia's style was unsuccessful as she stuck to her leather and spikes. Talia was surprised by Luke's betrayal and even saddened by the fact that Luke was the one that poisoned her tree form. "Do we know who we are picking up?" asked Naruto. "Yes. Their names are Nico D'Angelo and Bianca D'Angelo, children of Hades," replied Annabeth. "They're currently attending a strict military school." "What's our cover story?" asked Naruto. "We're visiting the school because we're their cousins," answered Annabeth. "Sounds believable," said Talia, "and true. Did we get any other intel from Grover?" asked Naruto. "Yes," replied Annabeth. "He suspects that a monster is stalking the two. Try to stick together in there and keep an eye on Nico and Bianca." Naruto and his sister discreetly looked at Percy because he was a loose cannon when on a quest. The group of 4 got to the academy in one piece, although Percy was embarrassed because his mother kept telling stories about him in the bathtub. Now that Percy was thoroughly embarrassed and the group did a secondary check on their weapons, they went into the school and encountered their first problem: 2 members of the staff. The 2 were dressed in military uniforms, but the odd thing Naruto and the others noticed was the thin mustache on the woman's face. The man beside her had heterochromia iridium, or 2 different colored eyes, one is brown and the other being blue. Both stood as straight as a ruler and gave off an air of authority. "Well, what are you doing here?" demanded the woman. Percy panicked for a moment before the dual-eyed man interrupted. "Visitors are not allowed during the dance," interjected the man in what Naruto thought was the phoniest French accent he heard. "You shall be ejected." Percy began to panic and went to grab his pen when Talia took action and snapped her fingers. The sound resonated throughout the hall. Percy was confused because this was the first time he witnessed such an event. "We're cousins to the Angelos and we're thinking of enrolling in your school," said Talia. "We were just looking around." "Ms. Gotchik, did you know of this?" asked the man, not really believing the children. Not noticing Naruto's hand began to twitch. "Yes, I must have forgotten," said the woman as she cradled her head. "Your tour is over, and you should be with the other in the gymnasium." "How did you do that?" asked Percy in a hushed tone. "That was basic mist manipulation," replied Talia in the same tone. "Didn't Chiron teach you this?" They arrived at the gym sooner than Percy was expecting and was greeted by Grover in his mortal disguise. "You guys made it," said Grover in an excited tone, only to notice the 2 teachers behind them. "Ms. Gotchik. Dr. Thorne, I didn't see you back there." "What do you mean by made it?" asked Thorne. "Do you know these people?" "We know each other." "Yes," said Naruto. "Nico told of him in his letters to us." "How have you been?" "Good. How about we continue at the Punch Bowl?" said Grover. "I'm sure you're 4 are thirsty after the car ride here." "Sounds good to me," said Annabeth as she and the others followed Grover to the Punch Bowl. "So, any leads?" asked Talia once they were far enough away. "I got a hunch," answered Grover. "I think it's Dr. Thorne. He's been eyeballing Nico and Bianca for a while, and I checked his record. He's not an offender." "Well, at least that's one less thing to worry about," said Naruto as he looked over his shoulder. "Any idea what monster he is?" "No clue," answered Grover. "We should just keep an eye on the Angelos and wait for something to happen." The group split up, taking positions where they can see the 2 demigods clearly, but Naruto decided to take a different approach. "Hey Bianca, Nico, how is life?" asked Naruto as he sat beside the 2. "Good, although things seem to have changed," said Bianca. "Apparently we are no longer at war." "Right, Her mind is in the 1940s, thought Naruto. No one even knows what's buzzin', kusin even means, said Bianca. Well, slang can change at a moment's notice, commented Naruto. How about you, Nico? Good, I got some new cards for my Mythomagic game, answered Nico, but no one seems to want to play it. Well, Mythomagic can seem like a complicated game to some, said Naruto, but I bet it helps you at math. It does, said Nico, and I almost have all the figurines, but I can't seem to get the Hades figurine. Well, maybe you'll get it for your birthday or something, said Naruto. Nico, Bianca, I wish to see you outside for a moment, said Dr. Thorne. Naruto seemed suspicious as Nico and Bianca didn't do anything wrong, so as Thorne was escorting the two demigods outside, Naruto signaled the group to his position. Grover, Annabeth, and Talia joined Naruto on the bench, but Percy was absent from the gathering. Where's Percy? Asked Annabeth. Percy Jackson only had 2 years of experience being a demigod, but he has yet to learn one valuable lesson: never leave the group. He saw that Dr. Thorne was escorting Bianca and Nico outside. Percy decided to investigate further, forgetting his other teammates, seeing the twins alone in the hall. You okay? Asked Percy, looking around only to get no reply. It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you. Percy continued to look around, trying to see where Dr. Thorne was, only to see the dark hallway. Percy's search was halted when a sharp object pierced his shirt, scratching his shoulders, pinning him to the wall. Poison, thought Percy as he began to feel woozy. I have to thank you for leaving the school gym, said Dr. Thorne. I hate middle school dances. That idiot, yelled Talia. He went rogue and went after the monster himself. What do you expect? He's an idiot, said Naruto. He more than likely compromised the mission. Then what do we do? Asked Annabeth, followed by the sound of an explosion. I saw we follow the sounds of destruction, said Naruto as he pointed towards the door. Don't be a smart mouth, commented Talia. I'm a child of Athena, said Naruto. What do you expect? Dr. Thorne dragged the D'Angelos and Percy to the back of the academy and led them towards the cliff. Percy tried to stall for time for Grover and the other to rescue him and the twins. Unfortunately, that didn't work too well. Dr. Thorne reached into his jacket pocket to pull something out. At first, Percy thought it was a switchblade. Turn out he pulled out a cell phone to call someone. The packages are ready for pickup, said Dr. Thorne. Percy couldn't understand what the other person was saying, but it couldn't be anything good. Percy looked over the edge of the cliff to see if it was a possible means of escape. It couldn't work through, as he also had to rescue the twin children of Hades, since children of the Big Three couldn't enter the other's domain without permission. Where are you taking us? Asked Percy, hoping the others would arrive soon. To my boss, replied Dr. Thorne. Luke? Asked Percy. Ha, as if. No, I work for the general, said Dr. Thorne. He is looking forward to seeing you and fulfilling your end of the plan. What plan? What are you talking about? Asked Percy. You'll have to find out yourself, said Dr. Thorne as he pointed out in the distance. Your ride is here. Approaching them was a military-grade helicopter, their spotlight pointed at them. You should be honored, said Dr. Thorne. You will be joining the army that is going to change the world. If you decline, then I guess the army will have some fresh meat to eat. This guy is crazy, whispered Bianca. We need jump off the cliff if we want to survive, whispered Percy back. What? Are you crazy? Whispered Bianca. We'll die. Don't worry, my father will protect us and get us out of here, said Percy softly. Does he have a boat below or something? Asked Bianca. Something like that, replied Percy, to then be knocked over by an invisible force. What? Exclaimed Dr. Thorne, to then be pulled back by a noose around his neck. Guys, now, shouted Naruto, initiating the attack. Talia had only been out for around a year, but something never changed: her veracity in combat. With her shield and spear in hand, she pressured Dr. Thorne to focus on her with Naruto, and Grover harassed him on the sidelines. Having enough of this, Dr. Thorne decided to change into his true form, a manticore. His once human-like body began to morph into the shape of a lion's while a scorpion tail appeared behind him. On his back, quills like a porcupine surface and tense up like potential missiles. Frightened at first, the two demigods and satyr broke through it just in time to dodge the lethal quills. Dr. Thorn then battered Talia with his tail, managing to knock her on her back. Before he could press his advantage, Grove took out his reed pipes and cast a spell that entangled the manticore's legs. While all of this was happening, Bianca was having a major freak out. "Who are you people and what is that thing?" shouted Bianca, seriously wondering what was going on. "That's a manticore," gasped Nico. "He's got 3,000 attack points and +5 to saving throws." To Percy, that was just plain gibbous. "Get down," shouted Annabeth as she pushed the twins into a nearby snowbank. Remembering the gift his brother gave him, Percy activated the shield that was in his watch, saving the twins, Annabeth, and himself. Percy experienced a harder impact in his shield. Peeking over, it revealed to be Grover. When Percy looked towards the fight, he saw that Naruto managed to pin the manticore down, and Talia was getting ready to slay it. Her attack was cancelled when the helicopter above them blinded her, allowing Dr. Thorn to swat her with his freed tail. He then dealt with Naruto by pinning him to the academy's wall. "Now, do you heroes see how hopeless it is? You should just give up and die," said D. Thorn in triumph. His victory was short-lived as the sound of a hunter's horn rang through the area. "Great, just what we need," thought Naruto sarcastically. He appreciated the backup, but with this particular group, their members can be abrasive to the male gender. "No," said Dr. Thorn, looking around, "why are they here?" His answer came in the form of a moonlit arrow piercing his shoulder. Angered and in pain, Dr. Thorn launched a barrage of quills in the direction of where the arrow came from, only for the barrage to be countered with more arrows. Thinking it was the trick of the light, he pulled out the arrow and countered Percy's sneak attack. While no one was looking, Naruto freed himself from the wall and willed sutures to secure the manticore to the ground. The archers emerged from their cover to reveal about a dozen young maidens, the youngest looking 10 while the oldest looked 14. They donned silver parkas and ski caps with jeans, all armed with a quiver and bow. They advanced with their bows taut, with the one wearing a silver circlet leading them. To Percy, she looked like a Persian princess. These were the Hunters of Artemis, a group of maidens under the protection and were trained by Artemis. Unfortunately, the Hunters had one fatal flaw: they really hate males of any kind, which really makes working with them very tough. "Wonderful, the Hunters are here," said Talia in a sarcastic tone. "This isn't fair," wailed the Manticore. "This is direct interference and against ancient law." "Not so," said an auburn-haired girl pulled in a ponytail. Her eyes were silvery yellow. Her face was beautiful but was set stern and commanding. "The hunting of wild beasts is within my sphere of influence. Permission grant Zoe. If I can't have the demigods alive, then they're better off dead," yelled Dr. Thorn as he tried to leap towards the twins, only to notice his feet sutured to the ground. "What the—" "Fire!" commanded Zoe, bombarding the manticore. Seeing Dr. Thorn in danger, the people in the Cobra returned fire with their mounted minigun. Small holes appeared in the snow as the hunters and demigods dodged the bullets. Seeing an opportunity, Dr. Thorn launched himself at the only target that was open, Annabeth. The manticore grabbed the startled blonde and jumped over the cliff. Percy looked over to see where they landed, only to see they disappeared. "Mortals shouldn't see my hunts," said the auburn-haired girl. She changed the crew and helicopter into a murder of ravens. "Zoe Nightshade, always nice to see you again," said Talia. "There are 4 demigods and a satyr, mine lady," said Zoe. "Some of Chiron's campers, I see," said the auburn-haired girl. "Annabeth, we need to rescue her," shouted Percy as he peered down the cliff. "You are in no condition for jumping off cliffs, and unfortunately she is out of my reach," said the auburn-haired girl. "Let me go," shouted Percy as the hunters began to dogpile him in an attempt to subdue him. "Who do you think you are?" "Zoe." "No," shouted the auburn-haired girl, stopping Zoe from hitting Percy. "He meant no harm. He is clearly ignorant of my identity." "What?" asked Percy in confusion. "Percy," said Naruto as he walked over, "meet the goddess of the hunt, childbirth and maidens, Artemis." "But she's so young," said Percy. "Aren't they usually tall and look like adults?" "Usually, yes, but little girls are more comfortable with people around their age," explained Naruto. "I'm just speculating, though." "You're right," replied Artemis. "I only appear in a more adult form when the council is summoned or when there are other gods around." "Understandable, Lady Artemis," said Naruto as he bowed to Artemis in a sign of respect. Zoe, gather the wounded and tell the others to set up camp, commanded Artemis. Yes, mine lady, replied Zoe. The atmosphere of the camp could be described as awkward, the boys treating themselves while the girls were escorted to the other side to be treated. This confused Percy as he thought everyone would be treated for wounds, but he was proven wrong when the hunters throw some bandages and gauze their way with hurting the girls elsewhere. Why are they glaring at us? Asked Percy as he looked around the camp. This is normal, answered Naruto. They're great for monster elimination, but otherwise they aren't exactly friendly. They welcome any female that's looking for protection, but the two conditions are you have to be untainted and willing to swear off men forever. The hunters also have a long-standing rivalry with the Kamo, epically with children of love for obvious reasons. Percy Jackson and Naruto Uzumaki, said Zoe, managing Naruto's last name a bit. My mistress wished to speak to thee. Let's go, Percy, said Naruto as he got up. We mustn't keep a goddess waiting. Things were tense in Artemis's tent, mostly because of Naruto and Percy being glared at as they walked to it and saw that Bianca was also summoned to the tent. Lady Artemis, always a privilege to see you, said Naruto as he bowed and kneed to the goddess, with Percy following as he had no idea what to do. At least one male how to act properly, commented Zoe. I have summoned you two to tell me more about the Manticore, said Artemis. Bianca told me a few things about it, and I wish to confirm them with you. Yes, Lady Artemis, we will tell you anything you ask us, said Naruto as Percy stayed quiet. Good, said Artemis, let's start then. Time had passed as Artemis asked a series of questions concerning the Manticore, and whoever the general was, only gained little in the process. Having gathered everything she needed to move on to other matters that concerned Bianca's future. Bianca D'Angelo, I am offering you a place in my ranks. If you accept, you will have to forsake love and never lay with a man. If you don't, then I'll just provide safe travel to Camp Half-Blood. Lady Artemis, no disrespect, but she can't join your hunt, said a nervous Naruto, or at least not yet. Please don't kill, thought Naruto as he stood in Artemis's gaze. What doth thou mean, male? Art thou denying her choice because of thou regard she belongs thee? Asked Zoe with anger in her tone. Yes, why can't she join? Asked Artemis. Because she belongs at the camp, answered Percy. She will be better protected there and better trained. Idiot, thought Naruto, you just make this meeting much harder. Art thou doubting mine mistress? Art thou accusing her of not training or guiding others properly? Accused Zoe. No, but my reasoning is different, said Naruto, trying to save Percy. I have a contract that she signed placing her in my care. What are talking about? Said Zoe in anger. Are you not treating her like property? No, not at all. I just gave her the opportunity to do an internship in my company and potentially work there full-time, defended Naruto. If it doesn't work out, she can leave with no strings attached. Your brother can tell you that this is legal. Let me see this contract of yours, asked Artemis. Lady Artemis, interjected Zoe, he is denying her entry to your sanctuary. Silence, Zoe, said Artemis, I am merely asking for proof of this employment. Of course, Lady Artemis, said Naruto as he produced the parchment for the goddess. She was looking over the contract. She noticed that it was legally binding, and there weren't any consequences for Bianca's leaving. Zoe, it looks like Bianca's future is out of my hands, said Artemis, handing the parchment back to Naruto. The contract is legally binding. What? But he could be lying and deceiving you, said Zoe. Are you questioning my reasoning, Lieutenant? Asked Artemis with an angry undertone. Of course, not mine, lady, it's just he's male, said Zoe. Gender doesn't play a role in legal matters such as these, said Artemis. Go out and tell the others that we are leaving when the dawn breaks, said Artemis to Zoe. We will also speak of this matter at another time. Of course, Lady Artemis, said Zoe as she gave Naruto the stink eye for getting her in trouble with her mistress. Sorry for my lieutenant, she's taken to the male-hating aspect of the hunt, apologized Artemis. We will provide you with safe passage to the camp once the sun breaks the sky. Of course, Lady Artemis, said Naruto, we will take our leave and await further word from you. Thank you, said Artemis as Naruto and Percy left her tent. Where is that idiot? Said Artemis sharply. I swear he is too lazy in the winter. Who are we waiting for? whispered Percy to Naruto. We're waiting for her brother, replied Naruto. Who? Asked Percy. The god of medicine, poetry, and music, Lord Apollo, replied Naruto. I'm guessing he will be helping us get back to camp. He's coming in until I saw, so keep your eyes closed, said Artemis as everyone closed their eyes. A bright light shone until Artemis said until to open their eyes. Looking at the now dimmed light they saw a red convertible Maserati Spider, that was melting the snow around it, with a 17 to 18 looking driver. The driver got out of his car, revealing more of his features: golden hair, loafers, a pair of jeans, and wearing a sleeveless t-shirt. At first Percy mistook him for Luke, but then noticed that this person seemed more playful and mischievous. Wow, he is hot, commented Taliah. He is a sun god, said Naruto. Not what I meant, said Taliah. Little sis, shouted Apollo, but to stop when his sister grabbed his ear and twisted it. Would you stop that? I am the older sibling. I helped our mother birth you, replied Artemis. Is that normal? Asked Percy. Yes. This argument been going on for centuries, said Naruto. They have yet to resolve the issue concerning their birth. Alright, so what do you want me to do? Asked Apollo. I need you to transport my hunters and these demigods back to camp. Father has commanded me to hunt down a beast for him, said Artemis. Well, okay, said Apollo, time to load up. This ride only goes one way, west. But how are we going to fit in there? Asked Percy. Oh, that's an easy fix, said Apollo, fishing out his keys and pressed a button. The sports car transformed into a travel bus, a stylish one but still a bus. Artemis left as soon as she saw that everything was taken care of and warned her brother not to flirt with her hunters, or there will be Tartarus to pay. Naruto didn't pay attention as he was the first one on the bus and was waiting for the others to board. He got out a book to read and pass the time, but was interrupted by a crow flying through the window and landing in the empty spot beside him. He got a closer look and noticed it had a wooden holder on its back. In it was a rolled document with a wax seal closing it. Naruto took a scroll out and broke the seal, revealing the context. It was multiple orders for specialty clothing. The crow flew off as before Apollo got back on the bus to drive it back to the camp. They were in the air. For a few minutes Apollo let go of the wheel and offered if anyone would like to drive. From Naruto's observation, Apollo already had someone in mind as he passed over Nico, for being too young, and Grover, for being too furry. He chose Taliah, but there was one problem. Ironically, she had a fear of heights. She was reluctant, but Apollo wouldn't take no for an answer. At first, things went fine until Taliah began to dip and get too close to the ground, scorching some trees and roofs. She pulled up to compensate but overdid it, and now the sun was too far from the ground, and ice began to form down below. This pattern went on until Taliah crashed the bus, which was the sun, into the lake that was in the camp. Apollo fixed it in the end as the bus appeared on the shore, and everyone was unharmed, but they did hear the complaints from the naiads that reside in the lake. Dinner wouldn't be served for a while, so Naruto separated from the group and walked towards his cabin. Why did the sun crash into the lake? Asked Melino. Apollo got the bright idea to let Taliah drive, answered Naruto as he walked towards his desk. But Taliah has acrophobia, doesn't she? Asked Melino. Yes, so if you see random forest fires of ice patched along the coast, blame Apollo, said Naruto. Darling, you're home, shouted Rhaenyra as she hugged Naruto, burying his head in her bosom. How did the rescue go? Fine, for the most part, but Luke is up to something, said Naruto once he was free. He now has an ally called the General. You wouldn't know anything about this, right? No, I've been getting the usual letter from Luke to join him and destroy Olympus. Other than that, nothing, said Melino. Nothing from me either, said Rhaenyra. I've been busy with my orders. Well, it looks like we're back to square one, said Naruto as he fed his owl and spiders. Hopefully, they can solve the mystery before it's too late. Hello, is this the right place? Asked Bianca as she peeked through the door. I was told I could find Naruto here. Yes, how can I help you? Asked Melino from behind her desk. I'm here for my internship, said Bianca. Internship? You have an internship here? Asked Melino. The agreement happened before I went on the Golden Fleece quest, answered Naruto. she has an eye for fashion and could act as my liaison for Italy. While she's here we can teach her what changed since the 1940s. Yay, another friend for us, said an excited Rhagnara as she descended from the ceiling. Ah, monster, why is it here? Yelled a scared Bianca. Relax, her name is Rhagnara and who is also my wife from the Sea of Monsters, said Naruto defending Rhagnara. Your wife? You're married to a monster, said a scared and confused Bianca. Welcome to my life. The woman at the desk is Melino, the daughter of Hades and Persephone. She is also the goddess of ghosts and blessed death, introduced Naruto. She is also my fiancé, which I only found out about a few months ago. Wait, you're married to a monster, and you're engaged to a goddess, how did that happen? Asked Bianca. Nothing in my life is normal, and as far as I can tell, a lot is done without my knowledge, said Naruto, such as my engagement to Melione, which was her idea. So, is there anything else I should know? Asked Bianca. Other than the fact I own an owl and 2 spiders, no, answered Naruto. I think there is an ongoing competition for me between the Lady of Doves and the Queen of the Underworld, but other than that nothing. Oh, said Bianca. Do you want to lay down? Asked Naruto as he guided her towards his bed. I think I will, said Bianca as she walked with Naruto. Naruto and Bianca disappeared as the two climbed the stairs to his bedroom. I think that went well, said a smiling Rhagnara to Melione. Naruto came back from his bedroom and went to his desk to look over the orders again. He looked closer and found out the dates of when they want him to be there, within the next couple of days, and what his duties will be. At first, he wasn't worried, but he realized this would be the first time he would travel with a group. He familiarized himself with Japanese mythology, specify the monsters they would be facing. He thought it over and decided to brief his team once Bianca woke up, but for now, the lunch horn sounded, telling everyone that lunch was ready. He got up from his desk but was surprised when he heard knocking on his door. As far as I know, Bianca is my only intern, thought Naruto as he walked towards the door. Hello. On the other side of the door was his sister, Alex, holding 4 to-go containers. Can I come in? Asked Alex. Sure, said Naruto as he led Alex. How can I help you? I need to ask you a favor, said Alex as she put the food down. We need you to fight in tonight's game. You're our best chance for finally taking a victory from the hunters. I can't disagree with you, but did you forget that I'm banned from participating? Commented Naruto as he opened his food container. No, I haven't forgotten, but Chiron is willing to let you play if you promise to hold your powers back, said Alex. So what do you think? Fine, but just know I work alone, so don't include me in your plans, said Naruto after thinking for a few minutes. That's fine, just remember to hold back, said Alex as she quickly left. Naruto had the suspicious it was because Rhagnara walked into the room. What was that about? Asked Rhagnara as she got a drink. Alex asked me to take place in the Capture the Flag game tonight, answered Naruto. I'm their last resort for a win. Also, it's probable for the best you stay in the cabin tonight. The hunters might mistake you for an invading monster and kill you. Alright, but try and not get hurt against those girls, said Rhagnara with concern. I'll be careful, said Naruto. Besides, I don't think those hunters faced my kind of combat before. Night had fallen, and everyone was getting ready for Capture the Flag, but it was not a regular game as it wasn't camper against camper, it was against the hunters of Artemis. The group of young maidens, although at times that image is broken, were personally trained by Artemis. They continuously trained to keep their skills sharp, but their training also gave some of them an inflated ego and turning them into hardcore feminists. The group also had an ongoing rivalry with Camp Half-Blood, and the hunters were the cause for the destruction of several cabins and property damage. Camp Half-Blood hated the hunters because of their arrogant attitude. In contrast, the hunters hated the camp because they kept young maidens from joining the hunt. Naruto himself didn't have any personal feelings against the group, although being called a pervert who enjoys fornicating with scantily clad women was coming close. The two groups separated and set up camp on opposite sides of the forest, with Naruto resting on the tree line. Most of the campers grouped together and began to discuss what to do. Naruto, on the other hand, was looking around the forest spotting various places to set traps. This was Naruto's primary style of fighting. He lures his opponents into traps and ensnaring them in his threads. He also used psychological warfare to anger his opponent and messing with their mind. Naruto heard that he was going to act as the main distraction as the rest of the team went for the flag. Naruto peeked at the hunters and noticed their figures. They were well built, but only a few looked very agile. They probably didn't have a lot of experience dodging and disarming traps. After thinking for a bit, Naruto stopped leaning on the tree and walked to his position. He plans to show these hunters why demigods were the deadliest prey. Everyone was anxious to begin. For the hunters, they couldn't wait to rack up another win while the campers wanted to shut the hunters up for good. Naruto melted into the background and waited for the horn to sound. Kirin blew the horn, and the two sides sped into the forest, prepping themselves for battle. Naruto split up from the leading group, disappearing into the darkened woods. Sitting in the canopy and spotted 5 hunters acting as a scouting party. Without disturbing the flora surrounding him, Naruto again vanished, a smirk on his face. The hunters formed a semi-tight V with bows and knives ready in their hands. The other 4 were looking around for any threats. Naruto made his move by ensnaring and dragging the 5th one into the bushes. Hearing the noise, they turned around and noticed the absence of one their own. Forming themselves into a protective circle and scanned for the threat. "Well, it looks like Artemis's hunters aren't as talented as they preached," said Naruto, echoing around the woods. "Where are you?" yelled one of the huntresses. "Show yourself." "I rather not," replied Naruto as he managed to drag another huntress into the bush. The remaining huntresses fired stun arrows into the bush but only heard the sound of arrow meeting wood. "Oh, try again," said Naruto in a taunting voice. "Hiding and attacking from the shadows," shouted one of the other huntresses, "a cowardly tactic." "What you see as cowardly, I see as effective," said Naruto dragging another huntress. "I remain unhurt while completing my objective while getting rid of you huntresses." "The plan is hopefully working," thought Naruto as he toyed with his prey. "The other traps I have laid distracted the other huntresses long enough for the others to get the flag. You can't stay hidden forever. You will have to come out sometime," yelled one of the huntress. "I have you disagree with you there. I have home field advantage," said Naruto. "If anything, you are just flies getting caught in my web." "Stand strong," whispered one hunter to the others. "He can't keep with up." Naruto snatched another hunter leaving only 2 left. Behind him lay the other huntresses cocooned in his webbing. His plan was going great as the huntress didn't know where he was or how to locate him. He stayed calm as he manipulated his strings to ensnare another huntress leaving only 1 left. Naruto observed as her movements started to become jumpier and irregular. Naruto continued to mess with her by moving his strings to disturb the leaves or make the tree limbs move. He ended her torment by trapping her ankle, pulling into the trees, wrapping her in a cocoon, and setting her down with the others. The sound of a horn sounded in the air, telling Naruto that the game was over. "Looks like you girls will be going home soon," said as he snapped his fingers, unraveling the cocoons the hunters were in. "I can't wait to see who won this time." "Obviously, we won," said one of the freed hunters. "We win this silly contest every visit." "You never know. Crazier things have happened," said Naruto as he walked out of the forest to meet the others. Naruto was right. Crazier things have happened. The hunters had lost, and the camp celebrated their first victory against them, but the celebration was cut short as the prophet of Delphi, Pythia, came walking towards the group. The deceased oracle stopped in front of Zoe. "I am the spirit of Delphi, speaker of the prophecies of Phoebus Apollo, slayer of the mighty Python. Approach Seeker and ask your question," said the walking corpse. Zoe approached the oracle and asked, "How do I save my mistress?" The oracle's jaw opened and enveloped the huntress in green fog. In the smoke, the image of Artemis holding something up appeared. Upon closer inspection, the goddess didn't look too good. 5 shall go west to the goddess in chains. The bane of Olympus shall show the way. Camper and hunters combined prevail. The Titan's curse must one withstand. One shall fall to a parent's hand. And allies shall come from another land. The oracle's voice rang through the fog, spooking some of the campers. Once the prophecy was delivered, the mist formed into a snake and went back into the Pythia's body, also causing the prophet to stiffen and fall over. That was unexpected," said Naruto after witnessing Zoe's prophecy. "Percy, Grover, Go and place the oracle back into the attic, shouted Chiron. Cabin leader, meet me in the main house, we have much to discuss. Well, while they go and talk about the upcoming quest, I better go and start packing, said Naruto as he walked towards his cabin. Where do you think you're going, male? Asked one of the hunters in an arrogant tone. The trainer requested your presence in the main house. No, he asked all of the cabin leaders to meet him there, answered Naruto. I am not a leader, besides, a different party has summoned me. Whatever, was the hunter's reply as she and the rest of the party went to the main house. Having no idea how the meeting was going, but Naruto had other matters to attend to, he reached his cabin and opened the door. He saw Rhagnara was busy making her silk goods while Bianca was listening to Melino about her responsibilities. Rhagnara, Bianca, pack your things, said Naruto, we've been summoned for several on-site jobs. Unfortunately, Melino, you can't come as it's in a different pantheon. Which pantheon? Asked Melino. Shinto. Answered Naruto. So, you girls should pack for a 2-week trip. Anything you don't have, we can get in Japan. The small meeting that Naruto was holding was interrupted by someone knocking on the door. Opening the door, he saw an irritated hunter standing outside his door. You have been summoned on the quest to save our matron from the clutches of evil. We leave when her brother raises the sun, so be ready, said the hunter, not looking at him. I can't. My services have summoned elsewhere, so I'll be unavailable, answered Naruto, standing firm, so you will have to choose someone else to fill my spot. What? You dare decline the offer to save our mistress and hopefully get in her good graces? Yelled the hunter in anger. As I said, my services have been summoned elsewhere, and it the kind where if I don't go could result in a war of supernatural proportions. I can only wish you good luck on the quest, said Naruto as he politely declined and closed the door. I imagine that could have gone better, said Melino in her secretary desk. Yes, it could have gone a lot better, said Naruto. The packing could have also gone better as Bianca kicked him out of the room as she packed her clothing as other essentials. Naruto got the message as Bianca was a teenage girl and more than likely had a few embarrassing pieces of clothing or toiletries she would want Naruto to see. The two parties were waiting in the same area for the vehicles that will pick them up. The atmosphere was tense, was made worse as the huntresses were glaring at Naruto for declining the position in the quest. In their eyes, Naruto was another pig-headed male that thought this his other head. Glaring at me won't change my mind, said Naruto. You should have accepted the summons instead of gallivanting around the world, remarked Zoe. I told you I have business elsewhere, and if I said no, then the consequences would be dire, said Naruto. The people that summoned me first are powerful and influential. If things go well, I'll have more clients, and we may have powerful allies on our side. Excuses, said one of the other hunters, you even prevented a young maiden from joining us. Think what you will, I don't care, said Naruto as his ride pulled up. I wish you well and hope you have a safe journey, and Bianca joined me by her own free will. If you have a problem with it, take it up with the King of the Sky. Naruto's transportation was provided by the people that requested him. It was a small stretch limo with various drinks and snacks for the passengers' enjoyment. Bianca was astonished as this was the first time she experienced something like this, but for Naruto, it got old very quickly. The trip took a while, but Naruto didn't notice as he watched Bianca marvel at the sights of New York's countryside and amenities the limo offered. Bianca was from a person from the 1940s. She was unfamiliar with such luxuries, as she, her brother, and mother were hiding in the Italian countryside. The ride ended when they pulled up at an empty airfield. This confused Bianca. This couldn't be the right destination as Naruto told her they were flying to another location, so why weren't there airplanes to even other people? Come on, Bianca, grab your luggage, said Naruto as he and Rhagnara got their things from the back. We have a plane to catch. Oh, okay, replied Bianca as she broke out of her daze but not seeing the point. The car that drove the trio to the deserted airfield went on as its way as Naruto, Rhagnara, and Bianca stood on the curb. Let's make our way in and get the clearance for takeoff, said Naruto as he walked forward and disappeared into the building. Following Naruto's lead, the demi-human and demi-goddess also walked into the building. Once Bianca walked through the second set of doors and was greeted by the sight of a busy airport, but the people and staff weren't what she was expected. She saw people with snake tails, multiple eyes, tails, or even one eye. Don't be scared, Bianca. This is normal, said Naruto as he guided his group through the terminal. But aren't these the creatures that try and eat our kind? Asked Bianca as she looked around the airport. Sort of. The monsters you're thinking of are pure Greek variants, while the monsters here are mixed blood or from other myths. This airport is a neutral ground, as some of them have families overseas, answered Naruto. We also won't be eaten, as these monsters eat a regular diet depending on their species. So, is that where it looked deserted at first? Asked Bianca. Yes, it's another form of protection for these monsters. The main form of protection is an oath with the other gods to not harm the planes or building, said Naruto. I know our king has tried to blast with place several times with the excuse of making sure no one takes his throne from him. As you can tell, he failed, as other gods control the sky and lightning that care about the oaths they make. So, the gods going back on their oaths are common? Asked Bianca. No, just the big three, answered Naruto. They're the reason why we're going to war with dark forces. I'll tell you more when we're on the plane. Okay, said Bianca as the trio stopped at the desk. Passport and ID? Asked the Mono-eye at the desk. Naruto brought out his passport, as did Rhagnara and Bianca's. Hey Mark, how's life? Asked Naruto. Fine. Where are you heading this time? Asked Mark. Japan. I've asked to do a few jobs there. I have the seal to prove it, said Naruto. Well, good luck then, said Mark. You do know this passport is expired by 60 years, right? I am aware of that, but I was hoping you could overlook that, said Naruto. We don't have time to renew it, and we're in a hurry. So, can you? I'll overlook it this time, but make sure you renew it ASAP. All right, said Mark as he handed the passports back. We will, and thank you, said Naruto as he put his passport away as lead his group elsewhere. That was a Cyclops, said Bianca in disbelief. We just talked to a Cyclops. Yeah, that's Mark. He's been working at this airport for several years, said Naruto, and they like to be called Mono-eyes. Mark wants to distance himself from the stereotype. But why didn't he try to eat us? Asked Bianca. Believe it or not, Mark's a vegetarian, answered Naruto. That's the main difference between Greek Cyclops and Mono-eyes. Mono-eyes have a more diverse palate and are quite intelligent, but they have no depth perception for obvious reasons. Some Mono-eyes are in the Japanese military as snipers due to their excellent eyesight. Really? I didn't know, said Bianca as she looked around. You get used to it, commented Rhagnara to Bianca. It took a while for me too. Naruto led his good to a private lounge until Naruto's jet was ready for takeoff. The staff members brought them various drinks and snacks to eat as they wait. It took Bianca a while to get used to the supernatural world, as the staff members were also demi-humans, consisting of lamias and catgirls. Rhagnara was relaxing as she finally found a comfortable chair for her opposite Hosoma on. It turns out people in the outside world don't make furniture for people with spider bodies. Naruto had some water, but his mind was elsewhere. He was worried about the questing group, as this general sounded powerful and dangerous. His thought process was interrupted by the pilot, telling them the jet was ready. The group of three grabbed their luggage and went towards the plane. Bianca was a bit nervous as this was her first time riding in an airplane. Naruto assured her that the ride was safe, and she had nothing to worry about. The jet was renovated to accommodate for Rhagnara or any other large-bodied species so that she would be comfortable for the long plane rides. Bianca was amazed as the chairs were quite comfortable. Between the chairs was a table with a basket with an assortment of fruit in it. Rhagnara chooses a lay-down chair so she can relax with her thorax out, and her 8 legs spread out. The pilot gave the group a few minutes to get comfortable. The flight attendant instructed them to buckle up and made sure all their luggage was secured for the 13-hour flight to Tokyo, Japan. The plane ride for Bianca was exciting at first. Still, after a couple of hours, she started to get bored, so she got out the book she brought with her to hopefully pass the rest of the flight. She continued this until they were 30 minutes outside of Tokyo, Japan. Bianca, look out your window, said Naruto, pointed out the plane window. Bianca expected to see the usual clouds and buildings. Instead, she saw several women with wings with colorful plumage instead of arms and talons instead of feet. Are those harpies? Asked Bianca. Yes, But you'll notice that these harpies are different from the Greek variant, said Naruto. They're also better on the eyes too. And they won't swoop down and torment you, continued Rhagnara as she rested. Interesting. Are there any other mythical creatures? Asked Bianca. Well, you already met the Mono-Eyes, but there are also Lamias, centaurs, and other assorted species, answered Naruto. Neat, said Bianca as she looked out the window. Before we depart, I want you to wear this necklace at all times, said Naruto as he handed Bianca and Rhagnara a metal necklace with a paper talisman. These are translation talismans. They'll translate anything you see or hear. I don't want you two to get lost while I'm working, continued Naruto. What do you mean? Won't we be together while we're here? Asked Bianca. Not all the time. I have clearance to enter the personal domains of the gods, but I can bring an assistant or two with me as I work, explained Naruto. The other reason is that some of the gods have interesting hobbies, thought Naruto. So, we will be on our own for a while, said Bianca. I sure we'll be fine as Honey does his work, commented Rhagnara. Honey was Rhagnara's new nickname for Naruto as the two were married, and she overheard some of Aphrodite's daughter addressing their boyfriends in such a way. The descent onto the Tokyo airfield went smoothly, and their luggage was available once they got off. The crowd was the same, only with a different variation of monsters. Bianca went ahead and saw men and women with dog and cat ears on top of their heads. She saw a kitsune family with the kids yipping at their parents and a group of women wearing beautiful kimonos. So, you liking it so far? Asked Naruto as he caught up to Bianca with Rhagnara in tow. It's interesting for sure, answered Bianca. Where is our first stop? The hotel, answered Naruto. My first job is until tomorrow so that we can relax for now. That's good. I really need to stretch my legs, said Rhagnara as she yawned and stretched her arms. It will also you guys a chance to get a lay of the land, said Naruto as he walked to the exit. The group of three exited the Tokyo airport and began their journey through the crowd. Bianca almost got lost several times. This was the first time she's been to another country and was amazed by Tokyo's various sights and sounds. Naruto wasn't that amazed as he's been here before, so he made sure to keep Bianca on the correct path to the hotel. Rhagnara was also amazed by the sights but kept her excitement contained as she knew they would be staying here for a while. She and Bianca could tour Japan as Naruto is busy doing work. Bianca noticed that the crowd was starting to change as more and more monsters started to mingle into the crowd. She asked Naruto, and he replied that they would be staying in Tokyo's supernatural district, so seeing monsters on the street was a regular sight. However, he did warn Bianca to be still wary as several of these monsters can still kill her or seduce her to be later killed. Naruto pointed out a beautiful woman wearing a light pink kimono, seemingly enticing men to come with her. She was a Kejiro, and she is looking for men because she can eat them for nourishment. Naruto also gave examples of monsters that weren't dangerous but were annoying to deal with. One example was the kitsune, trickers in nature, but are known to seduce young men and women into the bedroom. The hotel the group was staying at was unique as it doubled as a hot spring resort. This excited Bianca as she wanted to visit one ever since Naruto told her the history of Japan. Naruto continues to explain the various activities they could do when he had time between appointments. Rhagnara was excited as Naruto told her that Jorogumos, a sort of cousin to the Arachnes species, frequent the establishment to relax and get their legs polished. Checking in went smoothly as the sight of a giant spider woman was a typical sight. They even offered Rhagnara a polishing session for free since it was her first time visiting. They reserved one of the larger rooms with separated bed chambers and easy access to the outside pools. Unfortunately, the pools were unisex, so Naruto's group couldn't go in together. Bianca was happy as such a thing was scandalous in her mind. Naruto went to his side of the room to unpack and go over the various orders he received from the Japanese mythology. Bianca and Rhagnara went to their side of the room to also unpack, but Rhagnara saw some distress on Bianca's face. "Something the matter, Bianca?" asked Rhagnara, but Byakuya mumbled her answer. "What was that?" asked Rhagnara again. "I've never shared a room with another person before," said Bianca. "I was always given a separate room, even changed in the bathroom stall when I had gym class." "Oh. Well, no need to worry then, we're both girls here," and we have nothing to be ashamed of, said Rhagnara. Says you, thought Bianca as she glared at Rhagnara's bust and waist. Naruto walked out wearing a light blue yukata waiting for Bianca and Rhagnara to come out for dinner. Rhagnara came out first in a light pink yukata, made with toughened fabric in case the outfit gets caught in her claws, followed by a shy Bianca with her arms around her body. Naruto quietly chuckled but understood as Bianca was new to this and was a young teenage girl with possible self-esteem issues. Bianca, I know that this is all new to you, so I asked the hostess to ask the kitchen if they could make any Italian food, said Naruto. I figured that would make the situation easier for you. Thanks, I'm still coping with being told we are not at war and are now on peaceful terms with the Japanese, said Bianca. I figured that would take some processing as your mind is still in the 1940s, said Naruto. You are taking it better than Rhagnara as she mistook the various nymphs as rival females for my affection. Don't tell her that, said an embarrassed Rhagnara. I was just making sure that only the strongest females would mate this you. And what about cocooning them and keeping them in the attic? Asked Naruto, already knowing the answer. Old habits, was Rhagnara's answer. A knocking on the sliding door told them that the hostess was outside, wondering if they wanted anything to eat. Naruto got up and let the woman in and told them what they wanted. Naruto got a sushi platter to share with Rhagnara while Bianca asked for pasta bolognese with a slice of tiramisu for dessert. The hostess left to tell the kitchen their order but asked if they needed anything else before leaving. They said no. Rhagnara decided to partake in the hot springs and asked if Bianca wanted to join her. Bianca declined her offer, just wanting to relax in the room with Naruto. I know it's early, but how are you enjoying Japan? Asked Naruto. It's nice, but not what I imagined, said Bianca. Why aren't people wearing kimonos outside? They don't do that unless there is a festival or are getting married, answered Naruto. Kimonos are hard to wash as they have to be taken apart and sewn back together after they are clean and dry. Oh, well, I guess it makes sense, said Bianca. When are you leaving? Around 9 in the morning, answered Naruto. I was going to ask you and Rhagnara if you wanted to come with. Ask me about what? Said Rhagnara as she came in from the hot spring. If you wanted to join me on one of my orders, said Naruto. I actually wanted to explore Tokyo a bit, answered Rhagnara. I was thinking of doing the same, said Bianca. I wanted to learn more about Japan and what changed. That sounds all right, said Naruto. The first order may take me all day, so the two of you would probably be bored while I worked. Naruto awoke before the sun lit the sky, and the blonde demigod left without waking Bianca or Rhagnara. He grabbed his suitcase full of various supplies to get his work done and went to the kitchen to grab a quick breakfast, consisting of some jam on some toast. His first stop was to the shrine of Hachiman, a deity of war and archery, to make him a metal-infused kimono that was comfortable and functional on the battlefield. The order becomes complicated when Hachiman requested the metal reinforcements be made out of imperial silver, a supernatural metal only found in Japan and remote areas in China. Since Naruto couldn't have access to imperial silver in the States, he had to wait until he was in Japan to get an essential component to this particular order. It was a pain, but the Shinto deities were willing to pay a lot for his services, so Naruto was willing to compromise. The meeting place was set at a shrine in Koto, Tokyo. Naruto looked at the subway station to see when the next train was. He was in luck as the train heading towards Koto was boarding soon and didn't seem too crowded. Since the train was too crowded, Naruto managed to get a seat to himself and inspect the people around him. A few nymphs talked to one another while the bigger-bodied monsters were sitting in the back where there was more space. He would have loved to have Bianca and Rhagnara accompanying him, but his work can be boring at times, so the two of them having a day to themselves weren't so bad. The train ride went smoothly, giving Naruto plenty of time to design and plan Hachiman's order. The blonde tailor was one of the first ones off and only had to walk a few feet before one of Hachiman's troops to spot him. The soldier was tense but polite as he guided Naruto through the crowd and onto the rickshaw that would take him to the shrine to meet Hachiman. While Naruto was off doing work, Bianca and Rhagnara woke up around 9 a.m. and decided to go exploring and have breakfast at a nearby cafe. The cafe looked alright, smelling brewed coffee and baked goods, and was large enough to accommodate Rhagnara's spider body. They grabbed a booth near a large window and waited for a server to notice them. The two looked at the menu and went for a simple stack of flapjacks and some coffee or juice in Rhagnara's case. Their server was a catboy wearing a pressed shirt and a pair of slacks with polished leather shoes on his feet. He wrote their orders down and went to get their drinks. As the two sipped their drinks, they looked around and saw how different Japan was from the States. The monsters and humans were more accepting of others, and Bianca even saw a few mixed couples among the crowd. Seeing all of this was new to Hades's daughter, as same-race couples were the norm for her. The meal was relatively silent, with the occasional comment thrown in about what was going on. The two paid for their meal and discussed what they should do next. "I heard that Shinjuku was a good place for tourists to go to," said Rhagnara as the two made their way to the subway. "That sounds fine," replied Bianca. "Hopefully, the subway isn't too crowded." Naruto's ride to Hachiman Shrine in Koto ended. The blonde was guided further into the shrine to meet the deity. The deity of honorable war and archery was an 8-foot-tall male with his black hair done in a neat top knot with an ornate metal clasp holding the hair together. He was wearing a dull orange kimono with a black border. Etched on the sleeves border were scenes of war done in white stitching. Not a hair was out of place on the god's face as he looked over a map of Japan, marking where possible weak points are. Leaning in the wall's side was a 6-ring kokhara made of pewter with a dark oak handle. "Sir, the weaver is here," said the soldier. "Good," replied Hachiman, "you may leave and return to your post." "I went over the design you sent me, and I planned accordingly," said Naruto as he procured the materials from his bag, a gift from Hermes to make his job more manageable. "Good, I have the last piece of material you'll need for my kimono," said Hachiman as he turned to face Naruto. "It is lying in the corner. I trust you will not betray my trust." "Of course not. The material will only be used in your order and your order only," said Naruto as he bowed to the god. Naruto stiffened his loom and incorporated the silk, wool, and metal into a cohesive pattern. The blonde manipulated the threads to produce a war-like scene in the fabric that matched Hachiman's domain of war. Once Naruto made enough cloth, he began cutting to make the kimono's sleeves and body, cutting out 7 pieces in total, including the obi that secures the kimono close. He continued by taking out a bobbin of silk with a thin sewing needle, easily threading the needle. Naruto begins the process of making secure stitching that can withstand battle and the test of time. This process took a few hours as the kimono was large, and Naruto wanted to make a good impression with the Japanese pantheon. "Weaver, tell me, how are the affairs in the Greek pantheon?" asked Hachiman as he continued his brush strokes. "Not well, as a traitor had risen and is recruiting others to his cause," answered Naruto as he worked. "He is planning to resurrect an old enemy, then overthrow his family's stronghold for past mistakes." "That is indeed grave news," said Hachiman. "Do you have a plan to overcome this obstacle?" "We have several in planning, but they are still in their infancy as we lack war experience. I offered one plan, but it was deemed impossible and idiotic." "What was the plan?" asked Hachiman. "My idea was to ask other pantheons for assistance in the upcoming war," said Naruto. "Sounds risky, but could bear the best fruit," said Hachiman. "It was shot down straight away," said Naruto. "I suspect it is due to Greek pride and our isolation to the other pantheons. I can understand, as we were too isolated from the rest of the world. For years, we kept to ourselves, ignoring the outside world until our emperor decided to reopen our border. We were surprised by the world's advancement in both culture and warfare. I see the merits of this plan, but some want to keep the war to themselves. I understand wanting to keep this contained, but from what I was told, we had some difficulty the first time, so that the second time could be even worse," said Naruto as he sewed. "I thought asking for allies wasn't unreasonable, as I feel the Crooked One won't stop at Olympus. He is power-hungry and will seek to conquer other lands and destroy their pantheons," continued Naruto. "Your suspicion sounds reasonable. Should I warn the others and prepare for the worst if the Greeks fail?" asked Hachiman. "I believe that would be a wise move," said Naruto. "We are but children against an ancient force. A few backup plans would be good." The train going to Shinjuku, but the two women managed to get a seat together. Bianca and Rhagnara were excited, as Shinjuku was known for its numerous museums and active nightlife. Seeing that there was still light out, the two girls decided to explore the museums to learn about Japan's culture and history. After a few minutes of reading, Bianca found Japanese history interesting, if not a bit weird at times. She was familiar with Greek mythology, but when compared to Japanese myths, the Greek seemed average. Bianca found that the myth of the Akane, a harbinger of disease and misfortune, to be a bit gross and interesting. She read further and discovered that the Akane was used to scare the population into proper hygiene practices and make sure their bathrooms were clean. Rhagnara followed Bianca's lead by reading about her cousins, the Jorogumo or binding brides. Instead of having a spider's lower body, the Jorogumo's abdomen is hollow. This is where the female would store their legs. They have other spider-like abilities, such as a venomous bite and spinning thread. Rhagnara wanted to meet one and talk about the differences in their cultures and the struggles they have to face daily. They saw other monsters in the museum looking at the exhibits and reading the plaques on Japanese mythology. The two exited the museum when a demi-human collided with Bianca. The monster knocked the girl to the floor with itself in tow. Rhagnara hurried to Bianca's side to see if she was okay. At the same time, Rhagnara wanted to see what kind of monster collided with Bianca. It turns out the monster in question was a harpy with blue feathers and light blue hair with a single strand in her girl's face. The harpy's clothing didn't leave much to the imagination as she was clothed in a pair of low-cut jean shorts and a black tube top. "Owie, that hurt," said the harpy as she rubbed her head. "Hey, are any of you hurt?" asked Rhagnara. "I'm fine," said Bianca as she got up. "I'm sure it was an accident." "Who are you anyway?" "I'm Poppy." "Poppy the harpy," answered Poppy once she got on her feet or talons. "Hello, Poppy, I'm Bianca, and she is Rhagnara," introduced Bianca. "Were you heading somewhere?" "Yeah, Poppy was looking for the blonde sleeper," answered Poppy. "Blonde sleeper," said Bianca and Rhagnara in a confused tone. "Yeah, my mistress wanted to tell him to look out for the big meanies," answered Poppy. "They say he's breaking various bras." "Breaking various bras," said a confused Bianca and Rhagnara. "It was nice meeting you too, but I have to go," said Poppy before she began to walk away, pausing during the third step. "Hello, do you know where I am?" "She's a serious bird brain," thought Bianca and Rhagnara in disbelief. Hachiman's kimono order went a few minutes faster than expected as the god of war didn't want his clothing to be too flashy. It would attract the enemy and easier to spot him in the distance. Hachiman thanked Naruto for making the garment and commanded one of his subordinates to escort the weaver back to his hotel. Naruto was happy as this was another job done but also helped strengthen the relations between the Japanese and Greek pantheon. The ride back to the hot springs resort went smoothly as you can get in moderate traffic, but Naruto didn't mind as Hachiman let him ride in a limo. Seeing that he had a few minutes, he took out his cell phone and called Bianca to see how she and Rhagnara were doing. "Hey Bianca, how did your outing go?" asked Naruto over the phone. "We went to Shinjuku and visited the Natural History Museum, but we had a slight run-in with a harpy," said Bianca. Now she won't leave until she sees with blonde sleeper. "A run-in with a harpy," said Naruto in a confused tone. "By any chance did this harpy have blue feathers, blue hair, and have memory loss after 3 steps?" "Yeah, how did you know?" asked Bianca. "I'll be right there, just give me a few minutes," said Naruto as he cradled his face in his hand and hung up the phone. "I can't believe they ran into Poppy on their outing." Poppy the harpy was an interesting person to talk to, but she suffers from ADD or attention deficiency disorder. It was because of this condition that she gained the reputation of being a bird brain. Poppy also had a habit of mispronouncing words or even leaving words out when she speaks. This habit makes it hard for other people to understand her. Naruto knew Poppy personally as she flew into him when he was visiting Los Angeles last year. Poppy got confused and flew in the wrong direction. The blue harpy forgot what her orders were and just followed Naruto until Poppy's mistress contacted her and reminded Poppy what her mission was. Poppy left with a message in hand and stomach full of food, promising Naruto she will visit again, only to forget after reaching her destination. When Naruto reached his room, the sight that greeted him was Poppy eating at the table while Rhagnara and Bianca waited for his return. "Hello, Poppy. Nice to see you again," said Naruto. "Naru, there you are. Poppy was looking everywhere for you," said Poppy, noticing Naruto entering the room. "She followed us back and kept asking for food," said a guilty-looking Bianca. "It's all right," said Naruto, putting Bianca's worry. This is normal for her. You called about a message concerning me. You're the blonde sleeper? Asked Rhaenyra in surprise and confusion. Poppy has trouble with her words, so it can be tough to understand her, answered Naruto. And you breaking several bras? Asked Bianca. She probably means laws, said Naruto as he sat down at the table. Poppy, do you remember the full message? Poppy does. Mistress wanted to warn you that several meanies have slathered together to defect against terrestrial forkers, said Poppy as she ate some chicken. She also wanted to let you know some cards about a Greek birthday on a big boat. What? Thought a confused Bianca and Rhaenyra, unable to make sense of the message. I see Luke is seeking recruitment from other pantheons, said Naruto as he used to Poppy's quirk. I guess I should be thankful for small miracles. Does your mistress have any details about which gangs were banding together? Not really, said Poppy as she scratched her head, other than the top band being purple and weird hair. The weird hair comment is not really helpful, but I think I know who the leader is, thought Naruto as he scratched his chin. Thank you, Poppy. You should probably leave scene as I'm sure your mistress is waiting for you, said Naruto as he opened the door for her. Oh, right, yelled Poppy, remembering her job, and began to leave. She probably sent the Terminator to look for me. Terminator, thought Bianca and Rhaenyra in confusion. Be safe, Poppy, and look out for power lines, said Naruto as he waved Poppy goodbye. You know Poppy? Asked Rhaenyra. Yeah, she's a part of a mailing system that spans several countries and have the permission from multiple pantheons to do so, explained Naruto. Also, to clarify, the Terminator she mentions is actually her coordinator. Her name is Ms. Smith and is the one that makes sure Poppy does her job. But from observing them, Poppy does more work than Ms. Smith, as Smith tends to load her work into others and charge everything to the company. It's a mystery why she still has a job. So how did the job go? Asked Bianca as Naruto started to eat the remaining food. It went as expected, and Hachiman paid me accordingly. My next job will be tomorrow, but you girls could come with me as this god, in particular, loves anything cute, and you two fit into that category, said Naruto, making Bianca and Rhaenyra blush. I'm going to take a soak in the hot spring before going to bed, said Naruto as he stretched his sore muscles. Go ahead, said Rhaenyra. Bianca and I will clean up a bit before going to bed. Bianca blushed at the thought of a shirtless Naruto. She shook her head to banish the thought and begin to clean the room. Since coming into the modern world, Bianca experienced how different the world had become. Gone were the social norms of women being nothing but homemakers and could act boyish without being scolded. The technology also had advanced. Bianca so far hasn't seen a single phone booth, and all the rotary telephones were considered antiques. She was glad that the economy recovered as the Great Depression hit the US pretty hard. The hot spring was the perfect temperature for relaxing Naruto's tense muscles and helped clear his mind for the journey ahead. While in there, he wondered how Artemis's rescue was going, hoping they didn't encounter too much trouble. The blonde weaver spent another 10 minutes in the spring before getting out, drying off, and putting on a fresh yukata. Rhaenyra and Bianca had the same thought as Naruto saw them in yukatas and sipped some tea to relax. Naruto, we decided to take your offer to accompany you on your next business venture, said Rhaenyra. It sounds like fun, and get to see how you work. Okay, I think this one is mainly a mending visit, so it shouldn't take like, commented Naruto. The appointment is until the afternoon so that we can sleep in a little. Good, I've never been an early riser anyway, said Bianca. As Tsukuyomi no Mikoto went to bed and her sister, Amaterasu, began her duties as the sun, Naruto and his two guests began their journey to Akihabara to meet with Naruto's next client. Known to the three was the spy that followed them on their journey. He was average looking, so he didn't draw much attention, but his eyes that struck people as odd. Both of his eyes were toxic green in color with bar-like pupils like a goat. To make it less noticeable, he wore sunglasses, but he peeked over them, occasionally revealing them to the world. He reported what the foreigners were doing in Japan and determined their overall threat level. At first, they weren't much a thought until the spy noticed how familiar Naruto was with other monsters and gods, and his threat level rose. The spy then focused his gaze on Rhaenyra and knew she would be trouble. Arachnes were notorious trap makers and are known to use their razor-sharp claws to shred their prey apart. Bianca doesn't look threatening, so the spy assessed her as non-threatening. Ryan, his boss, would want to know this information immediately and plan accordingly. Akihabara is a hub for people interested in gaming or anime. It is also home to various cafes that dress their staff in specialized uniforms such as maids or butlers, but some have taken it a step further by dressing them up in cosplay. Naruto and his group bypassed the various girls advertising their cafes until they reached a particular one, the Fox's Den. Rhaenyra and Bianca looked in and saw various girls dressed in French-made outfits in different colors and short skirts. The one other feature the girls noticed was the fact that most of the girls had extra features such as fox ears and tails. The three entered and was greeted by a dog girl. Bianca found it cute when the girl ended her sentences with a woof, calling them master and mistress, respectively. "We are here to see the head fox," said Naruto. "Okay, follow me them, woof," said the dog girl, recognizing the code phrase, and directed them towards the owner's office. Inari was the deity of rice, foxes, fertility, tea, and sake, and is also the patron of swordsmiths and industry. The main problem was Inari doesn't have a defined gender. Inari is worshipped as both male and female, making imagining the deity difficult for other people. When Naruto, Bianca, and Rhaenyra entered the office, they saw an individual with sharp features and long black hair styled in a ponytail. Naruto watched in amusement as the girls tried to see if Inari was a male or female. The way Inari dressed didn't help, as the individual was wearing a suit. No noticeable bulge appeared on the chest, but both know some woman had a small chest. "Naruto, dear," said Inari as the deity got up to hug the blonde, "you came and look fabulous as always." "Inari, nice to see you as always," answered Naruto. "You said that you had some garments that needed mending." "Yes, some drunk ruffians decided to make one of my shrines their home. They trashed it, and it took my poor fox's ages to clean it and make it presentable again," said Inari as the deity dabbed his eyes dramatically. "I see you're still dramatic," said Naruto. "Before we get down to business, I want to meet Rhaenyra and Bianca." "Hello," said Rhaenyra as Bianca shyly waved at the deity. "Oh, aren't the two adorable?" said Inari as the deity looked the two over. "Oh, I just want to dress like little dolls." Bianca was startled as she had little experience dealing with overly effective people, so she hid behind Rhaenyra. "You should probably take it easy on Bianca," said Naruto. "She's new to our world and flamboyance in general." "Really? How about this? While Naruto and I talk, you two can play with the girls downstairs. I'm sure they will make you look adorable while we do the boring work," said Inari as the deity walked Rhaenyra and Bianca downstairs where several girls were waiting. "Make sure to have fun and make them feel cute." "Yes, Inari," replied the various maids in the cafe as they guided the two towards the costumes and clothing. "We have several outfits that will fit you two perfectly." "Have fun, you two," said Naruto as he went back upstairs to do his work. The dark underbelly of the Japanese crime scene was where only the strong and vicious could thrive. Each gang had a territory they owned, but they had to defend it from rival gangs and rookies constantly. Each gang had a rank, and the number one gang were mercenary with a 100% success rate. They were the Demon-born Gang. For over a century, With Gang remained the number one gang in Japan and planned to stay that way. Some enforcers even took to eliminating foreign parties from influencing the culture too much. Oddly enough, the Demon-born Gang was one of the nicer gangs. Their tempers flare when someone crosses or when a rival threatens one of their own. Ryan, the great-grandson of the current head, was known for killing rival gangs in bloody piles after fighting them, and that bloodlust started to concern the other members. He was next in line to be the gang leader, and one of his goals was to make Japan pure again and eliminate all the outside forces. This plan was already in motion as he had various spies observing and reporting various factors that could ruin his plans, one factor going by the name Naruto Uzumaki. That bothersome Greek had been a pain inside for over a year, introducing new ideas and changing the way things would be. The strong always towered over the weak, and if anyone had a problem, they get killed, and it gets covered up to prevent future revolts or dash the hopes for things to change. From the reports he's been getting, Naruto was accompanied by two females, one a monster and a human, and they seem relatively close if their suspensions are right. The purple-skinned man began to plot and gather his flunkies from the other gangs looking at this new data. The repairs only took an hour, but Naruto went down to tell the girls he was done. He was surprised to see Bianca's once pale skin now mocha-colored with white makeup on and a white wig covering her brown hair. Bianca replaced her casual clothes with a dark-colored sailor uniform with the skirt reaching the middle of her, now tan, thighs with white socks and black shoes. Naruto remembered this a style called gongoro, a sort of rebellion against the traditional look for an Asian woman. Naruto looked over and saw Rhaenyra dressed in a black and white maid outfit with her spider abdomen and 8 legs out. Naruto didn't know what to do as both look adorable, but he didn't know what to say. Luckily, Inari was there to saw the words he was thinking, sort of. "Ah, those two look so cute," said Inari with stars in the deity's eyes. "I bet they would draw in a lot of new customers." "Rhaenyra maybe, but I think Bianca seems a bit too shy to do such a thing," said Naruto calming down, "but the girls seem to be having fun, so I think we can grab lunch here and sightsee afterward." "Alright, but can I keep the uniform? I kinda like it," said Bianca in a shy tone. "Sure, we have several copies of it, so giving away a few are alright," said Inari. "I'll get you one of the girls to show you your seats and bring you some menus." "Alright, as always, it's a pleasure doing business with you," said Naruto concluding the meeting. The girl that served Naruto, Bianca, and Rhaenyra was a kitsune if the bushy tail and fox ears were any indication, dressed in a red maid uniform with a white apron. The group ordered 2 parfaits and a cola float for Naruto since Rhaenyra can't have caffeine, or she'll end up drunk again. That discovery was made last year where Rhaenyra drank some of Naruto's coffee and spent the next hour spinning a mess of webs in the attic that Naruto cleaned up later. Mr. D was very amused when he heard about this and made it his personal mission to make it happen multiple times in the future. The sweet cream dessert satisfied both girls while Naruto sipped on his drink. He watched the two and trying to come up with plans now that business for today was done. Seeing as they are in Akihabara, it would probably be interesting to introduce Bianca to a few modern hobbies such as video games and manga. The drinks and food were paid for, and the group of 3 made it to their first stop, Slippy Gourd Manga. This shop was monster owned and operated, so seeing a person with extra features wasn't a rare sight. The owner was a Narayan, a monster with a gourd-shaped head, and was dubbed the King of Monsters. These oddly shaped monsters can command other monsters and invade others' homes and claim it as their own. This Narayan, named Ichikawa Masumi, didn't have the passion for overthrowing a homeowner or commanding an army of monsters. Instead, he decided to use his talents to sell comic books and collectibles to nerds and anime enthusiasts alike. He had white eyebrows and brown eyes with a light brown kimono clothing on his body. He was currently reading an old manga he found in the back when Naruto and his group entered. "Hey, Ichi, any new merchandise come in?" asked Naruto approaching the counter. "Well, if it isn't the world's upcoming designer," said Ichikawa, "and yes, I got the newest volumes and figurines in." "Tell me, do you still have those figures from the Mythomagic game?" asked Naruto. "Of course, which one did you want?" asked Ichikawa leaning forward. "Hades, Bianca's brother, is a major fan of the game and almost have all the figures himself," said Naruto. "Wow, I have him, but it isn't cheap," said Ichikawa leaning back. "He is one of the sought-after figures." "I figured the price would be high, and I am aware of the rarity of the figure," said Naruto. "So, what are we talking?" "Naruto, you don't need to do this," said Bianca. "It's fine. It's just 2 businesspeople going over a deal," said Naruto. "So, what's the price?" 45,000 yen, answered Ichikawa, still in the box. "How much that?" whispered Bianca to Rhaenyra. "I think it's about $450, replied Rhaenyra. "Kind of steep for a single figurine," said Naruto thinking over the offer. "How about 30,000? "Too low. I'll settle on 36,500, said Ichikawa. "I'm only lowering the price because we're friends." "I can deal with that," said Naruto taking out this checkbook and writing the amount out, "and I appreciate you lowering the price for me. Her brother will be happy to have the figurine to complete his collection." "Bianca, Rhaenyra, why don't you two look at the shop while Ichi and I complete this transaction? You may find something you'll like." "Are you sure? You already spent a lot of money," said Bianca. "I'm sure you two may be here for business, but that doesn't mean you two can get some souvenirs from this trip," said Naruto with a reassuring tone. the two girls this advice as they looked over the business's wares. Rhaenyra was finding a girl manga detailing the struggles of a Jorogumo in the modern world while Bianca seemed lost. This was a new experience for her. Her younger brother was the one that was into this kind of thing while she just stood back and watched. Bianca looked around and spotted something out of the corner of her eye, two males hugging each other with rose petals surrounding them. This manga piqued Bianca's interest as she walked over and began to read it. She quickly blushed once she found out what the book entailed, but she couldn't put it down as the manga kept her interested. "Find anything you like," said Naruto appearing behind her. "And no, I think I'll keep looking," said a blushing Bianca as she hid the manga behind her back. "Are you sure? Then what's that behind your back?" asked Naruto, spotting the corner of the book. "Ah," said Bianca, not knowing what to say. "Darling, I found some stuff I would like to read," interjected Rhaenyra coming down the aisle. "Good, what you get?" asked Naruto, looking over Rhaenyra's selection, noticing that most of them were spider-related in one way or another. "I'll go and bring these to the counter then." "I didn't know you were into that sort of thing," whispered Rhaenyra, spotting Bianca's reading material, "but I will admit they can get pretty spicy." "Please don't tell Naruto," pleaded Bianca with a red face. "I won't. I'll distract darling while you go to the self-checkout and meet us outside," said Rhaenyra, walking away. Thoroughly embarrassed, Bianca did as Rhaenyra said and discreetly bought the manga, thanking the gods for black plastic bags, and met Naruto and Rhaenyra outside to continue their sightseeing. "So, did you find something you like?" asked Naruto, seeing Bianca coming out. "I think I have, but it's embarrassing," confessed Bianca, looking away. "That's all right. We all have our secrets," said Naruto. "Any other place you two want to see?" "Let's just see where the wind takes us," said Rhaenyra, walking forward. "It's more exciting that way." "Can't argue with that," said Naruto. "Lead the way then." "How about we try some karaoke?" asked Rhaenyra, suggesting a few ideas. "I heard they are very popular in the world." "What's karaoke?" asked Bianca. "It's when we rent a soundproof room and sing from a collection of songs with the lyrics from the screen," answered Naruto. "It's popular among school children and people who just want to release some steam." "I would like to try it then," said Bianca in interest. "It sounds like fun." "Yay," said Rhaenyra in excitement and hugging the two. "I feel like Rhaenyra really want to take in as much as she can while we're here," said Naruto, walking faster to catch up to his spider bride. "Yeah, by the way, how do you know so much about Japan?" asked Bianca. "My father is Japanese and uses to tell me Japanese stories before bed and teach me about my culture," answered Naruto. "I've also been here once before on business." "Sounds interesting," commented Bianca. "It truly is," said Naruto. "It's hard work, but I get to see and interact with many interesting places and people," said Naruto. "Come, you slowpokes, I want to have some fun," yelled an excited Rhaenyra in front of them. "Let's not keep the lady waiting," said Naruto. "Lead the way," said Bianca, following Naruto and Rhaenyra's lead. The recent news concerned Ryan, as Inari may be flamboyant, but they were still a powerful deity, plus having Hachiman against him wasn't ideal either. This Naruto person was becoming more of a nuisance by the minute. He had to get rid of him soon, introducing new ideas such as hot dogs and reality TV. Ryan had a plan, though. He knows the inn where Naruto and his group were staying and when to strike. The foreign weaver wouldn't arrive in the inn until dark, unaccompanied, hitting him when tired and weakened. His two companions were doable as the Arachne seemed passive, and the girl was a simple mortal with no combat training, easy pickings. Ryan hopes that the group puts up a decent fight before killing them and restores Japan to its former glory. Karaoke was a new experience for Bianca, as such a thing was unheard of in the 1940s. The room they rented was soundproofed and offered beverages and snacks to the three teens. Rhaenyra went first as she was the one that looked forward to this the most, followed by Naruto, then Bianca, after much encouragement. Bianca didn't think Rhaenyra would choose a pop song to sing, but Rhaenyra definitely had the liveliness that the song demanded. Naruto's choice was a song from some anime. He had a pleasant voice, but Bianca couldn't decide what to sing. Rhaenyra offered several songs, but Bianca felt they were too energetic for her, but her salvation came in Naruto, offering a slower toned song that sounded nice. The three enjoyed singing until late into the night and made their way back to the inn. What the three didn't see was the bird that followed them from the karaoke bar. Kevin, a human employed by Ryan, followed Naruto's group to gather more information. The female demigod seemed to suffer from low self-esteem and needed to blonde for moral support, while the Spider-Woman seemed harmless as she has yet to eat the two demigods. This information could work to Ryan's advantage. Take out the blonde, and the other two will soon follow. The sun rose to introduce another day, and for Naruto, that means meeting another god. Still, this goddess, in particular, could be reached until dawn, meaning Naruto could work in the comfort of the inn while he finished the order. The order was simple, but the problem came in quantity as she wanted 50 different dresses, ranging from cocktail to formal. Naruto's sewing script increased as the years went by, but it would still take him several hours to design, cut, and make each dress. Bianca and Rhaenyra woke up a few hours later and saw dresses filled the living space with various dressing and different stages of development. Naruto, are all of these dresses for one order? Asked Bianca as she looked around. Yes, answered Naruto as he continued to sew. You could say this goddess likes to party. She is also known for a particular incident that saved Japan from eternal darkness. And that incident is? Asked Bianca. She basically did a striptease on an overturned washtub to entice the sun goddess to come out of her cave, said Naruto with a straight face. Japan is weird, said Bianca as she continued to view the dresses. The order took a while, but Naruto managed to complete the order with plenty of spare time. Naruto's latest order also had a specific time parameter as that was the only time she was available. The destination was a shrine in the mountains, and the order was huge, so Naruto rented a van to transport the dresses to their final destination. The shrine had a spacious front, with the main temple being behind it. This temple was dedicated to the goddess of the dawn and partying, Ame no Uzume. She was a free spirit that made sure her people were happy and no good times were on the way. As the years go by, she noticed that her people's fashion has changed, so she decided to embrace that in her wardrobe. She heard from the grapevine that a young tailor specialized in gods and goddesses' garments, Naruto. She delivered a message with a few wind spirits' assistance, not knowing that several other gods of the same pantheon as herself did the same. She was glad when Naruto accepted her request but was saddened when he could only come on the second day of his stay. Sunset had arrived, and Naruto made it to the shrine with a giant van in tow. Some priestesses came and began to unload the van and bring the dresses into the shrine for Ame no Uzume's approval. Thank you again for accepting our goddess's order, said the main priestess. I'm sure she will love them. I'm sure she will, said Naruto. My visit will be complete once I see your mistress and see if there are any problems. Of course, if you and your group follow me, I'll take you to the waiting area, said the head priestess directing Naruto in the general direction. I'm surprised that they're okay with Rhaenyra entering the shrine, commented Bianca. Rhaenyra hasn't presented any malice nor hatred, so she is welcome in this shrine, answered Naruto, and if you look around, you will see Rhaenyra isn't the only monster on these sacred grounds. Bianca looked around and saw that Naruto was right. Some of the priestesses were monsters. Naruto added by pointing out an albino snake woman sweeping the grounds. He said that a white snake is considered good luck. The daughter of Hades asked why and Naruto answered by telling her about Benzaiden, one of the 7 gods' luck. When she delivered a message to Earth, she would appear as a white snake. It is considered an insult to killing one on sacred grounds, so all albino snakes are treated with respect and left alone. Ame no Uzume's appearance can be sorted into 2 categories, party mode and housewife. As the wife of Sarutahiko Okami, the patron of martial arts such as Aikido, she can be depicted as a devoted housewife, but at the same time as the goddess of merriment is like to be social and have a good time. Her current mood fits into the housewife category as she was garbed in a light brown kimono with a brown obi securing it, her hair was done in a bun, and she had minimal makeup on her face. I see my order had arrived, said Ame no Uzume looking over the dresses, and I see the quality is top quality. Of course, I am working for deities and other powerful figures, said Naruto bowing with Bianca and Rhaenyra following his lead. I am aware, said Ame no Uzume, but you can relax around me. Thank you, said Naruto as his shoulder relaxed. After inspecting a few more dresses, Her form was enveloped in a bright light before revealing that she changed clothing. The goddess of merriment was wearing a yellow kimono with some of her shoulders and cleavage showing. Her obi was a dull pink, and her hair was in a bottom ponytail. She had on eyeshadow on with sparkling lip gloss. "Ah, so much better," said Aim no Uzume as she rolled her shoulders and cracked her back. "It takes a lot of energy maintaining that other form. I love what you've done with the dress, and I can't wait to wear them to some parties." "If that will be all, then we'll take our leave," said Naruto after making sure all the dresses were to his client's liking. "I see that word of your work isn't exaggerated," said Aim no Uzume, preventing Naruto and his group from leaving. "You have met and exceeded my expectations." "Thank you for the compliment," said Naruto, bowing in respect. "If there is anything else you need before we leave." "No. I hope you meet your next client's wishes," said Aim no Uzume, pointing where she wants her dresses stored. "You should stay and have something to eat. You three look thin." "Well, we are a bit famished," said Naruto, seeing that his group agreed with the goddess, "and it would be rude to refuse your generosity, so I'll guess we'll join you for a meal." "Excellent. The offerings today are exquisite," said Aim no Uzume, guiding Naruto and his group further to the temple. Things weren't going as planned for Ryan, as the blonde foreigner was gaining more and more influence. Fortunately, for the demon Sake, he got information about Naruto's next client. Naruto was going to meet with Izanami, a creator deity of the Japanese pantheon, and her palace is in an area far from other people and monsters, perfect for an ambush. The spider woman should be easy to get rid of, but Ryan was still unsure about the blonde himself. Ryan had yet to see Naruto fight, not knowing how he fought or what abilities were at his disposal. He hoped luck was on his side as they planned the ambush near the Netherworld. "The food was excellent," said Naruto as he finished his bowl of rice, "and thank you for the hospitality." "Thank you," said Aim no Uzume, wiping her mouth of stray grains, "and I hope the deities treat you well." "That is what we hope for as well," said Bianca, finishing her miso soup. "Who are you delivering to next?" asked the goddess. "We're going to the Yami next," answered Naruto, "one of my bigger appointments during my visit." "I can see why," said Aim no Uzume. "She can see ruin your career in an instant, among other things." "Yami is the underworld, right?" asked Biana in confusion. "Yes, just be careful, as various monsters call Yomi home," said Naruto, "the type of monsters that Chiron trained you to fight and kill on sight." "Oh, that's bad," said Bianca. "Rhaenyra, you should also be careful, as your monster instinct might take over," continued Naruto. "I'm only safe because she's expecting me." "Who are you seeing anyway?" asked Bianca. "One of the co-creators of the Japanese mythology, Izanami no Makoto," answered Naruto. "County created?" asked Bianca. "She was originally married to Izanagi, but she died after giving birth to her son Kagusuchi," explained Naruto. "Izanagi tried to bring her back but was horrified by what he saw. The end story was he sealed Yami and officially divorced Izanami." "If Izanagi sealed Yami, then how are we getting in?" asked Rhaenyra. "He didn't completely seal it, but there is a space the size of an average door," answered Naruto. "So, he dumped her because she turned into a zombie," said Bianca. "Seems kinda shallow." "It is, but our king is a notorious womanizer that commits adultery weekly," said Naruto. "So, I think we break even." "I agree," commented Aim no Uzume. "So, anything we should know about her?" asked Bianca. "Just don't mention her husband to her," answered Naruto. "She's still bitter about him dumping him and locking her up in Yami." "I would be too," said Rhaenyra, "as would any woman." "Agreed," said Bianca, Aim no Uzume, and several other women in sync. Night fell when Naruto and his group made it back to the resort, full of mind and stomach. Naruto took the bathroom first while Bianca and Rhaenyra stretched and unwind. "Aim no Uzume was nice," said Bianca, "and we learned more about Japan." "Yeah," said Rhaenyra, "though I wish we learned more about the Jorogumo." "You mean the eastern versions of your people?" asked Bianca. "Yes, but instead of having the lower body of a spider, their midsection holds in their legs," answered Rhaenyra. "That sounds painful and confusing," said Bianca. "Where do their organs go?" "I don't know," said Rhaenyra, preparing herself for the bath. "I was planning to ask them if we met them." "Sounds like an interesting conversation," said Bianca, also readying herself for the bath. "It should be," said Rhagnara. It will be an exchange of culture and ideas. Hopefully, that visit won't end with me having another bride, commented Naruto through the separating screen. Yomi, or the Japanese equivalent of Hades, was the next destination for Naruto and his group. Izanami got word of an excellent weaver in the west and ordered a garment to see if the stories were true. The goddess of Yomi didn't mind waiting as Naruto, the weaver's name she later learned, as the gods of Japan sent in their orders first. Izanagi's former wife used to have the beauty of the living, but after death, her beauty changed to match her undead status. Izanagi was horrified by her appearance that he sealed Yomi with a giant boulder, also sealing his former wife in the underworld. Years went by, the elements taking a toll on the boulder, allowing a small opening to appear. The residents of the underworld discovered this opening and used it to escape. The humans fought back, but no side had an advantage over the other. The supernatural civil war lasted several decades before some of the yokai, Japanese demons, sought humans for romantic relations, such as Kitsune and Oni. These romantic relationships prospered, giving birth to Hanyus or half-demons. The human resistance began to win until the Hanyu split off and formed a third faction, the Hanyu faction. With three factions fighting, the war began to get out of control. There was no longer a clear winner as each side won a battle. The war was brutal on every side. Crops and homes were destroyed until the factions called for a ceasefire. Factions formed, a treaty was formed. The war formally ended after 20 years of fighting. Naruto went to bed early after returning to the inn, knowing that tomorrow would be long and tiring. Bianca and Rhagnara followed Naruto's lead as Aim no Uzume tired them out at the shrine. Morning came for the three, and they were discussing their plan as they ate breakfast. "So, we're going to the underworld today," said Bianca as she ate a rolled omelette. "Yes," answered Naruto. "Unfortunate the entryway is over 6 hours away, so I called us a ride to get there." "What, like a cab?" asked Bianca in confusion. "Something like that," answered Naruto, finishing his eggs and wiping his mouth clean. "We'll be riding in a ghost, basically." "Is it safe?" asked Rhagnara. "Perfectly safe," answered Naruto. "We'll just have to deal with some road rage." The three finished their breakfast and went to the edge of the road. Naruto took out a 10-yen coin and flipped it onto the streets. Instead of the coin hitting the ground on the coin's descent, it sank like it hit a puddle of water. Rhagnara and Bianca felt a slight rumble before a large cart began to rise from the ground. On the front end of the cart was demonized human face with long hair. "You called," said the demonic face. "We're going to the entrance to Yami," answered Naruto as Bianca and Rhagnara entered the cart. "Kind of a long drive but doable," said the demonic face. "I do expect a good tip at the end." "Of course," said Naruto as he got in, "that is common courtesy." Barley. An hour passed before the group of three encountered their first obstacle, traffic, and their driver wasn't making it any easier. "Is it always this noisy?" asked Rhagnara, not familiar with city life. "It can be," answered Naruto in a calm tone. "Heavy traffic comes with living in the city." "Traffic wasn't too bad in Italy," commented Bianca. "Yes, but you lived in the county," said Naruto. "Horse-drawn carts were better on the dirt roads, opposed to the metal rims on cars." "That makes sense," said Bianca, thinking back to the 1940s and their country home. "Move it or pull aside. Some of us have places to go," yelled the cart they were riding. "I will say that some traffic jams are better than others," commented Naruto, hearing the commotion outside. "I'm starting to prefer the quiet forest than the noisy city," said Rhagnara. "The good news is the Jorogumo village is close to Yami so that we can visit after my appointment," said Naruto, knowing that Rhagnara wanted to visit the village. "That sounds wonderful," said Rhagnara, happy Naruto was paying attention to her. Another hour went by, and nothing interesting happened. Naruto took out a book to read. Rhagnara took out some knitting needle and began to weave some of her webbings together. At the same time, Bianca passed the time by looking out the window. It took some time, but she did get used to the differences between the time she was born and the modern era, but seeing the Japanese population was still weird. Bianca saw both humans and monsters dressed in maid uniforms advertising their cafe while at the same time seeing monsters and humans walking together in a romantic setting. She also was other people getting into carts just like theirs, and Bianca wondered what they actually were. What kind of yokai are we riding in any? Asked Bianca. Their names are Oboroguruma, answered Naruto. They're the souls of deceased ox cart drivers who were denied parking in their preferred spot. So, their anger was so great that they even hold onto it after they die, said Bianca. Yep, said Naruto. So, how far is the entrance? Asked Bianca. It's about a 6-hour drive, answered Naruto. Couldn't we have teleported to the entrance or something? Asked Bianca. We may be involved in the supernatural, said Naruto, but even then, there are limitations on what we can do. Well, that's disappointing, commented Bianca in a sad tone. Yeah, after a while, being involved in the supernatural starts to lose its luster, and it just becomes normal or boring. As the three occupied themselves, the occasional traffic raged from their cart, the time flew by, and Naruto started to see the stone arch that guided to Yomi. Well, we're here, said Naruto as he and his group exited the cart. The entrance to Yomi is only a couple of yards away. That would explain this ominous feeling I'm getting, said Bianca looking at the scenery. Yeah, most gates to the underworld have that feeling, commented Naruto. I'm also feeling something, said Rhaenyra with a warm sensation going through her body, but I want more of it. And that's why I asked to control yourself, said Naruto stepping away from the spider woman. What's happening? Said Bianca, trying to figure out what was going on. The supernatural energy is acting as an aphrodisiac and putting her in a daze, answered Naruto grabbing a water bottle from his coat. How do we bring her out of it? Asked Bianca, worrying about her safety and Naruto's. Just splash some cold water on her, and she'll be fine, said Naruto as he splashed Rhaenyra with water. Ah, why did you do that? Asked an angry Rhaenyra. You were going to do unspeakable things to us, answered Naruto, especially me. What? Asked Rhaenyra, until Bianca whispered what Naruto meant. Oh. We need to get going, said Naruto, walking to the Torii gate. Punctuality is important in business. A few yards away from the red Torii gate was a small woken shack with a white shimenawa hanging over the door. This is it, said Naruto, the entrance to Yomi. I thought it was going to be more extravagant, commented Bianca. Same, added Rhaenyra. I didn't expect an old wooden shack. They built it to prevent any future erosion on the stone that Izanagi placed there centuries ago. Was it really necessary? Asked Rhaenyra. It's meant to keep the nastier monsters out, replied Naruto, and there are some nasty monsters in Japanese folklore. That makes sense, said Bianca, knowing of such legends. Japan is truly a place of horror and amazement. We should get going, said Naruto starting to make his way to the shrine. Izanami can only wait for so long. When Naruto and company entered Yomi, the sight that greeted them was dark and cavernous, water dripping from the ceiling. So, this is Yomi, commented Rhaenyra as she walked beside Naruto. I thought there would be more demons and screams of pain. This is only the entrance, answered Naruto, pointing ahead. What Yomi really looks like is coming up. The screams and yells soon became noticeable as the three got closer until they got to a cliff overseeing everything. Demons of every shape and size could be seen, either being tortured or doing the torturing. Welcome to Yomi, the Japanese underworld, said Naruto ignoring the screams of pain and suffering. Follow me. I was given directions to Izanami's court. Ignore the whips and screams of pain. Rhaenyra was a little uncomfortable as the group of three walked. Still, the spider demon noticed that Naruto and Bianca seemed used to it or ignored it for the most part. From what she remembers, Naruto does business in the underworld on occasions. At the same time, Bianca was the daughter of Hades, the Greek god of the underworld, so that such things would be every day for her. The journey took a few minutes as Yomi consisted of rocky cliffs and rivers of lava. For some reason, a railroad crossing, but Bianca and Rhaenyra chalked it up to needing it for the deeper levels. The closer they got, the nicer the exterior, and the rocks became hardwood floors and elaborate tapestries. They stopped when they reached a large sliding door with a silhouette of a kneeling woman behind it. Mistress Izanami, I have arrived as promised and brought the goods you have purchased, said Naruto. And the two women behind you? Asked the Izanami. They are my assistants, answered Naruto. They are new to the business, and I'm showing them the ropes. I see, said Izanami. I am glad you are expanding your business. Please slide the package forward so I can inspect the clothing. Of course, said Naruto as he slid a large package towards the paper door. I hope they meet your expectations. The paper door slid open slightly, allowing a pale hand to reach out and grab the package to bring it inside. The door slid back shut after the package was inside. A few tense moments before the sound of Izanami's voice began to ring out. These garments are as good as the rumors say, said Izanami looking over the clothes. I am amazed that you can do such intricate details on a grand scale. Thank you for the compliment, said Naruto. It is only thanks to people like you I can acquire such skill and use them. Tell me more of your assistants, said Izanami turned to face the group. One has the aura of death while one is a monster. The one with the aura of death is named Bianca. She is the daughter of Hades, while the monster you sense is named Rhagnara, a princess in the Sea of Monsters. What were you doing in the Sea of Monsters? Asked Izanami, knowing that such a place was dangerous. It was for a quest to save our camp and keep the monsters from invading, answered Naruto. We succeeded, but we later learned that one of our own is recruiting an army to overthrow the Pantheon. I fear that won't be the end. The traitor may try to overthrow the other pantheons, continued Naruto. That sounds concerning, said Izanami. Did your family send you to get an alliance against this threat? No, said Naruto. My grandfather is paranoid and fears that you would use the alliance to overthrow him and take his throne. I see, said Izanami in disappointment. He seems like a foolish man. I do not judge his decisions, said Naruto. I fear my grandfather would silence me for such defiance. He sounds like a foolish man. Indeed, said Izanami. You may leave. You have given me much to think of. You honor me with your presence, said Naruto as he and the group began to leave. Zeus is letting his pride and paranoia is clouding his mind, said Izanami as her servants put the clothes away. I can only hope his other family members see reason and ask for help from outside forces. The return to the surface was uneventful as the demons and supernatural creatures left the three alone. What is next? Asked Bianca. My next appointment isn't until tomorrow, answered Naruto, so we have the rest of the day to ourselves. Matsu is known for its supernatural history, said Rhagnara. We could visit some castles or shrines. That sounds like a good idea, said Naruto in interest. I think the clan of spider women are nearby too, added Rhagnara. Hiding among the building was a weasel demon, a spy sent by Ryan, and he frowned when he saw the three foreigners survive Yomi and continue their way. The boss is not going like this, said the weasel demon. Ryan wasn't happy indeed as the blonde foreigner was gaining more and more ground by the minute. He thought the various demons that call Yomi home could find the half-mortal delicious or the female demon in the group would go wild and kill the other two, but those hopes were unfulfilled in the end. Ryan felt that the only way to get rid of the nuisance was to do it himself. Naruto, Bianca, and Rhagnara walked around and learned about the history of Matsu. Matsu is known for being the birthplace of the Japanese gods and a common battleground in several wars, both supernatural and mortal. The main tourist attraction was Matsu Castle, a castle made from stone and wood that somehow managed to survive after a fire, flood, wars, and other natural disasters that would destroy other castles. Some rumor that the gods blessed the castle, while others believe demons protect it as the caste could use it in a rebellion. Wow, this place is amazing, said Bianca looking at the modern interior of the castle. It is interesting, said Naruto, also looking around, to think the exterior holds an antique look while the interior has modern conveniences. It is nice, commented Rhagnara looking at the dark corners and ceiling. I see plenty of space for the smaller Arachne people to make a cozy home. I agree, said Naruto, spiders do favor dark and cool areas. Yeah, agreed Rhagnara, we can visit the Jorogumo village after this. Sure, you all right with that, Bianca, asked Naruto to the daughter of Hades. I'm all right with that, replied Bianca, after hearing about them, I am curious about them. Then we can go there after we're done with Matsu Castle, said Naruto. Yay, exclaimed Rhagnara, excited to see more spider-like demons. Hey, come back here. Naruto and his group looked behind them and saw a black-haired woman running towards their direction. The person yelling was a man dressed as a server. You still owe us money. Of course, we would run into her, whispered Naruto in despair and disappointment. Naruto raised his hand and bound the woman's legs and arms, causing her to fall. Still sending your bills to the agency, Agent Smith, said Naruto, knowing the runner personally. Thank you, young man, she owes me a lot of money for all the food and coffee she drank. How much, this time? Asked Naruto, cradling his face. She owes over 100,000 yen, exclaimed the server, chasing Agent Smith. You never learn, do you, Smith? I once again have to bail you out, said Naruto, bringing out his checkbook and writing out a check. You constantly skip work, complain you aren't paid enough, and charge everything to the government as a business expense. I'm surprised you haven't been sent to debtor's jail yet, or have everything you own auctioned off to pay for your bills. Agent Smith stood back up after Naruto removed the restraints and laughed awkwardly while rubbing the back of her head. You should feel lucky when the young man decided to bail you out, said the server to Smith as he walked away. Honey, who is this woman? Asked Rhaenyra, wondering what was happening. This is Agent Smith, said Naruto in a dull tone. She makes sure monster-human relations are well, and nothing too catastrophic happens between the two sides. Unfortunately, she is poor at her job and only gets by coasting and mooching off others, including her own employers. I'm not that bad, said Smith in retaliation. I had stopped plenty of incidences before they got out of hand. Smith, we caught you running away from a bill, and if I call your office right now, I imagine your subordinates are doing your paperwork for you, said Naruto in the same tone. Agent Smith tried to refute this, but he hit her right on the head, and she really didn't want Naruto to call her office because Smith did, in fact, leave her squad with a mountain of paperwork to do. Anyone up for ice cream? Asked Agent Smith, hoping to change the topic. I could go for some ice cream, commented Bianca. I wonder how it compares to gelato. As long as it's on the way to the village, then okay, said Rhaenyra. I guess we're all in agreement, said Naruto, but you will need to get back to work afterward. Sure, said Agent Smith, happy to avoid work for a while longer. Naruto had more connection than Ryan thought. Both government and godly entities were the blonde's clients. Ryan couldn't attack Naruto near any agents, government buildings, or shrines unless he wanted to face retribution from powers higher than his. His best bet to get rid of Naruto was in a neighborhood his family controlled, forcing any witnesses to stay quiet and not report anything they saw. Ryan's plan was coming together, and he couldn't wait to see the look on Naruto's face when he took his final breath. You really like your coffee, commented Naruto watching Agent Smith eating a coffee ice cream. Do you have to ask, said Smith finishing her cone. So, you and your group are heading towards the Jorogumo village. Yes, Rhaenyra is an Arachne and wants to see the eastern equivalent to her people, explained Naruto. I don't have any appointments until tomorrow, and Bianca wants to see the sights. Well, if you need any protection, you know who to contact, said Smith getting up to leave. I'm glad you paid for your own cone, commented Naruto. Your wallet probably hasn't seen the light of day in weeks. Naruto's answer was an awkward chuckle as she made her exit. We will see her again, said Naruto in a knowing tone. It's only a matter of time. Why do you deal with her in the first place? Asked Rhaenyra. Because she may be lazy, but she has a high position in the government, said Naruto, somehow. She's also persistent and won't leave me alone until I appease her. Trust me, I tried that route, and it ended badly. So, you're trapped with no way out, commented Bianca in sympathy. You hit it right on the nail, said Naruto, and I am not her only victim. She also mooches off another young man. I don't know his name, but she calls him Honey, and he's providing housing for 5 monster girls, and Poppy is one of them. He must have a large home, commented Rhaenyra. After several renovations, I'm sure it is, said Naruto. How do you know this? Honey renovated his house, asked Bianca. I overheard Agent Smith's conversations when she interrupts meals in the past, answered Naruto. She is relentless, isn't she? Said Rhaenyra in surprise. I swear, she follows me whenever I'm in Japan, said Naruto in disappear. With how she behaves, I can believe that, commented Rhaenyra. We should get to the village before it gets too dark. Agreed, said Naruto and Bianca. The Jorogumo is both a myth and a real animal. The monster's appearance reminded the people, who survived, of the golden orb spider due to their size and bright colors. The life of the Jorogumo monster starts as an ordinary spider. After 400 years, it gains magical powers, allowing it to change its appearance and seduce young men for it to copulate with and then consume. They usually live solitary lives, but as time went by, it became harder to survive as other demons and hunters started to get clever, causing the Jorogumo species started to decline. The spider women noticed it became more difficult to kill them if they grouped and fought together. It was also easier to care for their young if they shared resources. Soon several Jorogumo villages started to pop up and occupied various districts, except Hokkaido due to being an island. The Jorogumo village in Matsu was made in a forested area. Some of the houses were built in the trees, while others were made on the ground. The settlement didn't have a gate or even walls, making it seem easy to enter the village. Still, unseen by ordinary eyes, were tiny threads crisscrossing over the foliage, acting as a security system for the spider demons. In the past, men were seduced into the village and had their life force stolen, but that changed when the war between demons and humans stopped, and the parties made peace. In the current age, the Jorogumo still seduced men, but instead of stealing their life force, the men are used to increase the Jorogumo's population. So, these are the Jorogumo, said Bianca, seeing various women walking in the village. I was expecting something different. That's the cultural difference for you, said Naruto. Their stories usually include them being beautiful women, making it easier to seduce men to their doom, quite different to Ragnaros people and how they resemble human spider hybrids. I love their clothing, commented Ragnara. It's always hard to find clothing that fits my lower abdomen. You like the clothes I make you, said Naruto, following Ragnara's comment. I know, but having an authentic outfit is always nice, said Ragnara as some of the Jorogumo noticed them. I agree, said Naruto, an original is better than a replica. Welcome to our village, said one of the Jorogumo, a woman standing 162 centimeters wearing a light blue kimono with a dark blue obi. I'm surprised an Arachne would visit our humble village. Ragnara was curious and wanted to learn more about your culture, said Naruto. The girl next to her is Bianca, and I'm Ragnara's husband, Naruto. Her husband? Asked the Jorogumo in confusion as the two looked relatively young. It's a long story, replied Naruto, but to summarize, Ragnara was the princess of her people, and I washed up on their island. Her mother married us, but Ragnara helped me escape, and she wanted to see the world. All of this happened in a day. That does sound like a long and possible complicated story, said the Jorogumo in astonishment. You wouldn't have an inn or hotel we can stay in, do you? Asked Bianca, feeling the day's stress coming over her. We do, replied the Jorogumo, leading them into the village. We have a lovely inn, the three of you can stay for the night. I can tell you more about our people as you relax. That sounds lovely, said Ragnara as she followed the spider demon. I can tell you about my people. While the three visitors were occupied, they didn't notice an older woman blend into the shadows of a house, raising her hand to reveal a small spider in her hand. Tell Master Ryan that the pests he wants dead are at our village. The spider scurried into the foliage carrying her mistress's message while she cackled to herself. Soon, the ways of old will return. This new generation was foolish to abandon our tradition of feeding on the foolish men we catch and embrace this foolish idea of peace. They will soon learn that traditions are meant to be kept and denying such practices have dire consequences. Ragnara listened as their Jorogumo guide told them all about the history of the binding brides. The main difference was the origin of their species. One occurred naturally, while the other involved godly intervention. Athena cursed Ragnara's foremother because of her hubris of being a better weaver than the goddess. Arachnara gave birth to various children over the years. Some were dedicated to tormenting the children of the goddess that cursed their mother, but some decided to go to other lands and start their own families. One group settled on an island in the Sea of Monsters, starting not just a family but a kingdom. The force of time changed some of them to better fit their role in society, such as becoming bulkier but slow or becoming smaller and faster. The guide was surprised to learn that Ragnara was a princess of an entire kingdom and chose to leave it, if only temporarily, for the sake of her shotgun husband. She personally found Ragnara's determination romantic and reminded her of some of the Jorogumo tales her mother used to tell her. So, how do you fund your village? Asked Naruto. Ragnara makes goods from her silk while I work as a tailor. We do the same thing, replied the guide. We mainly make kimonos or the occasional custom order. What a coincidence, commented Naruto. Then again, we are weavers by trade. Some of us are better than others, said the guide. Some leave the village and go into the city to become housewives or try other ventures. We have a lot of success being musicians in the biwa. I don't see any fault in that, said Naruto. What's a biwa? Asked Bianca. It's a short-necked wooden lute that is played with a wooden stick called a bachi. Answered the guide. They're very popular for traditional musicians and can be used for storytelling. Interesting, said Bianca in interest. Maybe I should bring one home and try and play it, said Rhagnara, wanting to learn a new trade and impress her husband. I wouldn't oppose to it, said Naruto, it might even liven up the cabin. We can get you one along with a couple of books to help you learn, said the guide, excited for the couple and glad another monster wanted to expand their potential. Thank you, said Rhagnara in excitement, I can't wait. So, the foreigner and his group are the Jorogumo village, said Ryan as he read the note. I do have a few supporters there, but most of them are happy with foreign influences. Tell my spy to isolate the foreigner and his group so we can take them out quickly. The younger spider demons and their fire-breathing pets could prove to be a nuisance. At once, replied a lower-ranked gang member. Soon, that blonde foreigner will be gone, and Japan will get back to its glorious roots, said Ryan, going back to planning. The guide brought Rhagnara to a building where they store their instruments, letting Bianca and Naruto wander around the village as the third group member shopped. Bianca followed Naruto without wanting to be alone as he browsed the Jorogumo's wares. I can see why people want spider goods, said Naruto, running his hand along a blanket, tough but soft to the touch. I agree, said Bianca, eyeing some sweaters and pajamas. They also have wonderful heat retention. Yes, our silk competes with alpaca and fleece for quality, commented the shopkeeper. Do you have any books on designs and techniques for weaving? Asked Naruto, wanting to learn and expand his business. I think we have some in the back, said the shopkeeper, going to the back of the shop. The storekeeper returned and gave Naruto his requested books, and Naruto paid the demon the price amount, but a new smell caused Naruto to worry. Do you smell smoke? Asked Naruto to his group. It's probably one of the younger girl's pets, assured the shopkeeper. They sometimes can't control their flames and end up burning a house or two. But is it supposed to smell like roasting nuts? Continued Naruto. Stage 1 is complete, moving on to Stage 2. Said one of Ryan's henchmen outside the city. All right, men, aim for the blonde and his group, subdue anyone that gets in your way. Yes, sir, replied the small group behind him as they moved toward the village. Back in the village, Naruto, Rhagnara, and Bianca were being escorted away from the danger, the trio watching as multiple women ran with buckets of water to extinguish the flames. I'm guessing this is a regular occurrence, remarked Naruto. It happens about once a month, answered the shopkeeper. The younger spiders get excited and shoot their flames. Spiders can shoot fire, said Bianca in confusion. The ones under the Jumagoro's command can, said Naruto. Mythology can get weird at times, especially when visiting other cultures. After a while, you get used to it, said Rhagnara trying to comfort the young demigoddess. I was surprised too when I found out. I wanted to take one back to the camp, but Honey said no. The other campers would panic and try to kill it, said Naruto, especially my siblings. I know, but they're so cute, said Rhagnara showing her feminine side. I also like my shop to not be on fire, commented Naruto, since it's also our home. There is that too, said Rhagnara too, at least I'll have memories of them. Maybe we can come back in a few years and get a spider them, said Naruto, when we're not located mere feet from the camp. I know you would give in, said Rhagnara hugging Naruto, unintentionally sandwiching Naruto in her breasts. Remain calm and breathe, thought Naruto as he tried to control his hormones. Naruto was saved from further embarrassment when an arrow landed a few feet away from his feet. There's the target. Get them, yelled the leader of the attack. Run, yelled Naruto as he grabbed Bianca and Rhagnara's hands. The group of three managed to make it to the outskirts of the village before being met with a second invading force. Both forces stood still, not knowing what should happen next. Naruto knew he could escape, but Bianca might have a more challenging time as she was still new to the supernatural world and combat. When you see an opening, whispered Naruto to his two companions, run. I'll catch up later back at the hotel. Okay, agreed Bianca, having the least amount of experience in combat. Be careful honey, replied Rhaenyra, looking for an opening. Naruto waited until he saw his opponent make the first time. A second passed before the blonde tailor saw an opponent's foot twitch and Naruto made his move. Using his demigod abilities, Naruto reduced the density of the ground and sent it out in a wave to disrupt the enemy's formation and to give his group the chance to escape. Go! Exclaimed Naruto, making sure his allies escaped. Make sure you get back safely, said Rhaenyra grabbing Bianca and running from the battleground. We need to make sure your bloodline continues. How old is this kid? Asked one of the attacking monsters. I don't know, replied one of the monsters in confusion, but he somehow managed to score an attractive spider girl, so maybe he just looks young. You guys know I can hear you, right? Commented Naruto overhearing the monsters talking about him. When Bianca first learned she was the daughter of a Greek god, she was skeptical, but after the last few days, she started to believe. How else could she explain why a spider woman was dragging her away from a horde of monsters wanting to attack her? I think we're nearing the city, said Rhaenyra seeing the metal structures and the sound of cars. What is going on? Asked Bianca in a panic. Who are those people? I don't know, but they seem to have something against honey, answered Rhaenyra. Can't we do anything? Asked Bianca. Not unless you know how to fight, said Rhaenyra. I know some fencing, but that's about it, said Bianca. We should get you a sword soon. Then, said Rhaenyra when they reached the city's edge, we should be safe now. All we need to do is wait for Naruto to come back. Hopefully, he'll be okay, said Bianca, taking in deep breaths. He should be, as this isn't the first time he was forced to fight, replied Rhaenyra. So, looks like we have some stragglers, said a demon with 3 other demons trailing behind him, and some good-looking ones. Bianca, stay behind me, said Rhaenyra pushing the daughter of Hades behind her. Honey taught me a few things while we were at camp. The 4 demons chuckled as the thought of a spider woman defeating them was laughable, but they were quickly silenced when they found themselves cocooned in strong silk. What happened? Asked one of the surprised demons. I think we were defeated, answered the second demon, while the other 2 walked Rhaenyra and Bianca retreat further into the city. They may be cannon fodder, but they made up for that in numbers, said Naruto looking for any survivors from his battle. Hopefully, that was the last of them. The fight wasn't difficult by skill but in terms of numbers. Naruto's specialty lay in fighting multiple opponents, but he had his limits, and the Jorogumo weren't actual fighters, more like ambushers and trappers. The defeated lay unconscious and bundled in silk. I hope I can catch up to Rhaenyra and Bianca, said Naruto looking in the direction the 2 women ran off. We'll deal with the ruffians while you reunite with your comrades, said one of the adult Jorogumo commanding other spider woman on where to put the bundles. I think they went back to the city, hypothesized Naruto, but other than that, I have no clue. Then I can only wish you luck, said the adult Jorogumo. I hope you and your friends find safety. This is it for today, to be continued.